station since 1964.
All right, here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Monday, March 18th. Burke County authorities are praising the efforts of 5 UGA students after they helped save a mother and her 2 children on Saturday afternoon. The girls who were traveling from Savannah to Athens saw an SUV drive into a creek at the Briar Creek boat ramp. Without hesitation, the girls jumped into the water and helped get the mother and her 2 children to safety. It's not clear what led the car to go off the road. Atlanta police are investigating a shooting that happened along Howell Mill Road across from Hattie B's Hot Chicken. The victim was approached by a group of people wearing ski masks who demanded his personal belongings. The victim pulled out a gun and shot at the suspect, who returned fire, striking the victim. The suspects drove away, and the victim was transported to Grady Hospital, where they are in stable condition. No arrests have been made, and no additional details have been released. And in sports, the Atlanta Hawks snapped a 3-game losing streak with a 110-193 win over the Los Angeles Clippers last night. The Hawks' West Coast swing continues tonight with a 10:30 matchup against LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers.
Let's talk about the 4-year anniversary of COVID next on Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station. Tug, Rhino, and Lowson till 10. The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's Tug, and here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
In my attempt to learn more Spanish, I've been trying to learn how to say SpongeBob SquarePants. Esponje Roberto Pantalones Cuadrados.
There you go.
The things that you will focus on when learning Spanish.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
What are your plans for your business this year? Hey, it's Tug. Do you want to expand and grow? Aren't you exhausted by going to lenders, building a relationship, and a week later, you got a new person to deal with? You have to start all over again? You don't have that with First Liberty Building and Loan. The Frost family has been helping businesses grow since the 90s, and they want to know you. Unlike big banks, they want to partner with you. The Frost family knows the patterns. They know the ebbs and flows. They know business. Get to know them at firstlibertyga.com. Building a building, buying a franchise, expanding. Reach out to them. Spend 10 minutes with them. See if you're a fit for them and if they're a fit for you. You do that at firstlibertyga.com. And by the way, if you're a young banker and want to work with a team that is faith-friendly and has a culture of excellence, First Liberty might be a good match. Reach out to them today. First Liberty Building and Loan. firstlibertyga.com. That's firstlibertyga.com.
Hey Atlanta, it's Ben, host of the Weekend Ben Burnett Show, proudly brought to you by Peach State Pride. Each and every weekend, we bring you all the issues going on around the globe and what America's ultimate role is in order to drive our agenda forward as conservatives. And if you ever miss an episode, you can download everything I've ever done on Apple, Spotify, or you can go to the podcast park. See you around, Atlanta.
The Braves are back for the 2024 season and ready to fight for their 7th consecutive division title. Don't miss the opening homestand against the Arizona Diamondbacks April 5th through the 7th, followed by the New York Mets April 8th through the 11th. And on April 8th, the Braves will honor the 50th anniversary of Hank Aaron's record-breaking 715th home run with a special Hank Aaron bobblehead giveaway together with Truist. Visit Braves.com/promos to get your tickets today. Atlanta Braves Baseball. We are Braves Country.
Sequoia National Golf Club is located 45 minutes west of Asheville, North Carolina, and nestled among the oak, fir, and flowered valleys in the heart of the Great Smoky Mountains. Owned by the Eastern Band of the Cherokee, this Robert Trent Jones II design offers an idyllic 18-hole journey filled with panoramic vistas on every hole, beautiful landscapes, and a fun mountain golf experience. Enjoy a relaxed lunch or afternoon beverage on the outdoor deck with 180-degree views of the Great Smoky Mountains. The surrounding community also provides golfers a welcoming environment that is rich with Native American culture and exciting year-round attractions. Sequoia National Golf Club is just 4 miles from Harrah's Cherokee Casino Resort and just a short drive from Atlanta. Experience a fun afternoon of golf with your friends or stick around for an epic stay-and-play weekend. Experience mountain golf at its finest and then go hit the casino floor. Book your tee time at sequoianational.com. That's sequoianational.com. Experience the majesty and beauty of Sequoia National, mountain golf at its finest.
Well, Michael, I want to thank you for your time, but unfortunately, we can't offer you the position.
Why?
Well, we got the results of your background check, and quite frankly, we were concerned.
About what?
Apparently, you were arrested for throwing a shopping cart at a customer?
In my defense, he had it coming.
At Horizon Background Screening, we find things that other companies don't. That's why companies that use us make smarter hiring decisions. Don't let the wrong hire put your company at risk. Get the real story on your candidates at horizonscreening.com.
Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watch Company, where quality and value make the difference. Locally owned and located in Sandy Springs, offering you the finest selection of unique diamonds, sapphires, rubies, and emerald jewelry, as well as other fine gemstones. Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watches has been servicing Rolex watches for over 30 years, and their Rolex-trained watchmaker will service your watch in their state-of-the-art Rolex service center in their store. Lee Brandt uses only genuine Rolex parts, and their estimates are free. Drop by Lee Brandt in the Trader Joe's Shopping Center in Sandy Springs or visit LeeBrandt.com.
Neil Borch here. Maybe you've already taken the steps to improve your health, maybe save your life. You're using a CPAP for your sleep apnea. I've been using one for well over 20 years. So right now I'm here to tell you about a source for CPAPs and CPAP supplies here in the Atlanta area. CPAPs, etc. They're in Alpharetta. They have whatever you need. Roddy and Sharon are your CPAP experts, and they'll ship nationwide. More information, CPAPs.com. Do you
know that most people describe remodeling as stressful? Does that sound like your experience? Hi, this is Candace from Exovations, and have I got a tip for you. With Exovations as your partner, you'll get a completely different remodeling experience. How? Well, besides covering the very basics like showing up on time, cleaning up your property each day, not smashing your flowers or bushes, and not pressuring you to buy today because this huge deal expires tonight. We also cover the big things like a written project schedule so you know when workers are coming and when they're not. A fixed price quote so you're guaranteed that what you pay is exactly what you committed to up front. And a design of what your home will look like so you're not left guessing if you're even going to like the finished product. Discover what stress-free remodeling looks like and schedule your free quote today at exovations.com. That's EXOVATIONS.com.
If the left made any sense, they would be right. Listen to Extra 106.3.
Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra and Extra 106.3. We need to celebrate it like it's January 6th. Like it's a holiday or something, Los.
We've hit the 4-year anniversary of 2 weeks to stop the spread here in the state of Georgia.
We got to call this something because we got to celebrate this next year will be the 5. So we got to come up with
5 years since we got a chance to stop the spread.
Yeah.
And we talked about the comedy of, if you remember the whirlwind of what happened, where by the 16th, which will be tomorrow, you're going to have Governor Brian Kemp declare state of emergency. Mm-hmm. By the 17th, we're all scrambling around, including myself, trying to find a computer that my kids can work on.
Yeah.
Because they're now being told, hey, it looks like schools are shutting down. By the 18th, all university systems and all schools have shut down in the state of Georgia. And by the 20th, you're told, yeah, you can't go to work. Stay home.
Yeah.
Like, how weird in a very short stretch did people find themselves sitting at home going, what the hell just happened? 4 years ago, in the next few days, it's how it all played out.
I honestly did not believe that we get to that point. I'm like, wow, these people are overreacting. And then I go, wait a minute, they're overreacting, which means other people are going to. If our own government, our own elected officials are overreacting to this, there's something wrong. They're either trying to spin this or they're just out of control. I can't imagine. And then just watching everything just kind of shut down and fall apart. And there was a time I was kind of happy to be like, all right, cool. Now I get finally an opportunity not to have anyone around me. But that didn't last very long. And I was like, wait, hold on. It was nice. And that's where I think a lot of people are like, look, I needed those 2 weeks to stay home and hang out with my kids and do these kind of things. And then that was one way to look at it. My way of looking at it is, wait, my son should be in school. This doesn't make sense. He's not really. And even though that, when he was born, he had certain things that might lead me to believe, like a lot of parents, that, hey, this might be a little worse for him than anyone else. But even I realized and started looking into it, go, no, it's not.
So
it's not. He shouldn't be home.
That's the part to drive home here, because I know that we all get the the hindsight is 2020, and this is what we should have done. This is how it's going to be.
Sure.
I still remember posting, because I had looked at a lot of the South Korean data during this time as things are starting to shut down. And the South Koreans, they deal with swine flu. They deal with bird flu. They do everything that pops out of Southeast Asia. The South Koreans are like, we're going to get it. Here's how it's going to be. Here's what's going to happen. And what they reported very early on was a 99.6% survival rate. And they talked about how it takes people of advanced age in order to deal with this. I think within a week and a half, we recognize this is not a threat to kids the way it is to elderly people.
Right.
And so when you're telling me that now my kid has to stay home and sit on a computer and miss out on social interaction and a lot of the issues that were going on there, that wasn't 2020 stuff. That was me going in the time period saying, why are my kids at home and freaking out?
Yeah.
Like it was cool for a couple days, but they need social interaction.
And then you started watching as they were on their Zooms with their schools and on there, and you saw the way that other kids were being. You realized at that point, my kid is not learning. And when you looked at the box of, I like to call it the Brady Bunch, because it looked like a Brady Bunch box.
Brady Bunch of all the kids.
And you're looking and you go, that kid's never going to learn any of this during this time. This kid's not paying attention. This is going to be bad for our children. And looking forward, it just took a little bit of, I was, in all honesty, it was you and your former co-host over there on the Audio Fun Bag, Brian Hoyt,
delivering medical information December of 2019.
But it was funny because we were all thinking, like, they ate a bat. Who eats a bat? But then I started really researching into it and looking into it, because you guys and I obviously knew this was coming. I started looking into it with you because you guys were making those jokes, but realizing you were already breaking it down to go, wait, hold on. This doesn't sound right. Why? Is it going to get here? What are we going to have to deal with? And at that time, we didn't even think it might get across the ocean, but we knew it would be here soon because we saw what they were doing politically.
We saw the data, and we brought it up. We brought it up on a comedy podcast of what was going on, and that ended up becoming where people are like, are y'all podcasting this week? Like, what else do y'all have? What else are you going to find? Again, it was supposed to be all comedy. It kind of changed. Speaking of some of the people that submitted your craziest things you dealt with 4 years ago, how about our friend Stephanie, who also included this? And she included all you too, Joe. Says, one of my favorite things, everything with masks. And here's the fun part she puts. Sure, that bedazzled mask you made will save your life. Also, that mask you bought at the gas station counter, also a life-saving piece of medical equipment. Agreed. That was
they told us like, hey, masks don't work. Wait, masks work. Wait, masks don't work.
Maybe you should use two masks. And to think, even to this day, you have people that will throw on those paper masks, which I will flat out say this. I'll admit to all of it.
Yeah.
So I ordered those in February of 2020. Mm-hmm. And my belief was, first off, I thought it was going to be hard to get a hold of them. We hadn't even shut down. Like, they showed up. Like, I still have in my Amazon inbox. Yes, in February of 2020, Joe's like, are you serious? Because, Joe, everything was picking up steam. And I recognized, in my opinion, that this was going to be your pass in order to move around the world. That you were going to basically be told, if you want to come in here, you've got to have this. If you want to do... That was what my belief system was.
Yeah.
So as these masks show up at my house, and my wife's just kind of looking at me, she's like, you ordered like 50 masks? I'm like, trust me, we're going to need these. Not because it's going to save our life.
Yeah.
Because that's not what they're designed to do. They're designed to deal with splatter during surgery.
Yeah.
That's what they're there for. And so it's just funny. It's like I'm going through my Twitter feed, and all the people that kept pointing out mask. Like, that ended up being the iconic thing that everyone went, how stupid is this that I'm having to deal with?
Yeah, it is one.
The iconic moment is that.
That is one of the iconic moments. Yeah, and one of those that you just continue to. I don't know when I realized that this was. I thought from the beginning, like, I can't believe they're going to do this to us. I can't believe they're going to put us away in our homes and make us stay here. And the mask thing just drove me crazy. I want to go back because I remember, and I tried to find this yesterday, Carlos. I looked it up. In Lenox Mall or Phipps Plaza, one of those two, they had like a designer mask store. Do you remember? You'd have these pop-up stores, that were all mask and supplies.
Here's your team-oriented mask. Show your love for Georgia Tech. Here's your mask. Hey, you a Bulldog fan? We got your mask.
Right. This one has diamonds. And I mean, they had some that were up to, like $10,000 masks. People were going crazy putting out like all these other. I mean, I like the entrepreneurial style of people who are like, you know what? If people are going to be doing this, I might as well get in the mask business. But think about all the businesses that went out of business and, because they catered to this ridiculous idea that people had to wear masks. So I might as well open a mask store.
I actually made another face mask purchase of 50 of them on April 16th of 2020. And it actually has my buy again symbol because I previously did it. I was like, because my kids were just blowing through them, It's like they just got nasty and you're
Isn't
like, well.
Funny? Like I never ordered them. I don't know. I never ordered masks or any of that. I mean, paper towels. I see some paper towels. I see some toilet paper. But besides that, I never ordered masks. Maybe, someone else ordered masks and they were just around. But I never wanted to wear one. I hated wearing one.
I couldn't stand it.
I'd rather stay home than, or just... I broke the rules. I broke every rule I could.
Well, speaking of just the comedy of the stupidity, so we went out to we went to the Golden Nugget in Mississippi.
Ooh.
Went out there to do our thing. This is 2021. So remember, this is like the height of COVID. Oh my God, everybody gonna die. And they had a policy there. The policy was you had to be in a mask at all times. Like, fine. You know what? I just want to watch some football. Want to do some gambling. I'll do it. Unless you were smoking.
Yes.
So we were like handed cigars when we got off the plane. All right. We got in the car and we were told when you get in the casino, when you get down to the floor, light these things up. I was like, well, I don't really. Okay, fine. I like at times like the cigarillos, the smaller cigars. The bigger ones, I'm like, they kind of make me, my stomach turns a little bit.
Yeah.
But if you told me I got a whole weekend of watching football and gambling and drinking, and I didn't have to wear a mask, man, that cigar was lit in my hand the entire time.
Yeah.
The entire time. No doubt about it.
That was the other thing was, when you're in a restaurant, they're like, you have to wear a mask. And, while you're eating, like, no, that doesn't make sense. So you're allowed to take your mask when you're chewing and eating, but put it back. They were trying to figure out how to make sure that if you go to a restaurant, are you allowed to take the mask off while you're at the table? Can you only pull it down when you're chewing? When you're not chewing, are you supposed to bring it back up? And then in the background in the news, you see things going on. Like if you're watching Fox News, you see them going, well, Fauci just said masks don't work. Dr. Jha said masks don't work. And I was like, wait, why do they keep saying this and then going on CNN saying, well, the best form is to make sure you're wearing a mask? It was so confusing to a lot of people.
But it became a political missile.
Yeah.
Because we would see, for instance, high school or middle school bands, and they all got holes in their masks so they can play. You're like, what kind of idiocy is this? But think about this. Stupid. How big was it for us when you had Stacey Abrams posing with children, all of them in masks, but she was not? And how much that became hey, it's for thee, not me, and how much, we attacked her, the rest of the national media attacked her, locally everyone attacked her. It's like, What are you doing? Why are you making it a point that I'm going to be like this, but all these kids have to be like that? That hurt her.
Yeah,
that was tough for her campaign to try to square that one away with the voters here in the state of Georgia.
But that just shows you how much misinformation there really was out there about this, but it was the opposite way. It was the fact that they didn't know what they were saying, but they were putting rules on us on social media and all platforms to say, well, you can't say this because you don't know, but you're giving out the wrong information and you're allowed to say that. And then you have those kind of pictures that became iconic and really one of the missteps. Obviously, I think defunding the police or saying what she did about sheriffs was probably really huge in getting rid of her, Stacey Abrams. But all these people that were sitting there saying Stacey Abrams with the mask off and all the kids around them like, they are the ones that are going to get me sick. Or when you see Nancy Pelosi, and we've talked about her hair and getting her hair done, but you saw it all over the country with all sorts of... AOC left New York to go to Florida where she could sit outside with her then boyfriend, now husband, I guess, or fiance. They might not have gotten married yet, but they went to Florida to be free.
Yeah. She's still hot, so I guess that's why she gets passed. That's the only thing I can figure there. This is why AOC can do that. When we come back on Xtra 106.3, like most libs, Paul Krugman, who is an economist and a New York Times opinion writer, they just don't get it. And then they write about it to prove they don't get it. Next on Xtra 106.3.
Hey, it's the Kimmer. Look out. The Kimmer Show is live every afternoon from 3 to 6, just like the Kimmer.
Democrats care more about mislabeling the murderer than they do about the murder itself.
More concerned about misidentifying an illegal invader, which they now call a newcomer. I call them the not yet Dems.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Xtra 106.3 and the Xtra app.
We turned on the air conditioning this weekend at the place we were staying over in Charleston because it was sunny and 80 the whole time. And the beauty is, I don't know that central heating and air conditioning serves, Isle of Palms where we were, but their HVAC system worked just fine. It was great. It's perfect because we were so comfortable the entire time we were there. So we want that at our home. That's why we have central heating and air conditioning. We've already had our buddy Seth come out. Seth is our technician from Central Heating and Air Conditioning. He's already got us tuned up for the spring. So happy about that because he has basically put his stamp of approval on it. Yep, this is going to work just fine. It's going to work just like it's supposed to. And I trust Seth because he's been to my house so many times. We're glad of that. If you want that same feeling of certainty, that same assuredness, then reach out to Central Heating and Air Conditioning and get a maintenance agreement with them today. Or if you've waited too long and now your system is on the fritz and maybe you need to replace, those savings are blossoming. They've got the summertime offers, 0% financing for 60 months, and up to $1,700 in rebates on qualifying Carrier HVAC systems. They are your Atlanta Carrier experts at Central Heating and Air Conditioning. Get yourself set up because the warm weather is coming. Don't be mistaken. We're going to go through this last little cold snap. We're going to have a little bit of cold weather this week. It's still going to be cool, but then after that, we'll start slipping into the warm weather. So call Central Heating and Air Conditioning, 770-GET-HEAT or centralheat.com.
Buying a new car is about way more than just a car. You want to love it and everything that comes with it. And at Subaru of Gwinnett, we get that. You want to love the website. Easy to browse, easy to shop, and an unrivaled selection so you can find the model that suits you. Like the 2024 Subaru Outback, Crosstrek, or Ascent. All offering impressive gas mileage, standard symmetrical all-wheel drive, and the tools to explore the things you love. You want to love the people and know that every time you stop by the dealership on Satellite Boulevard in Duluth, they'll be there for you, ready to help in any way possible. And you want to love the service. We'll check that box for you also, because during the spring sales event, there's a lot to love. So stop in during the Subaru A Lot to Love event, and you'll find just that, a lot to love. Start your shopping online at SubaruofGwinnett.com and find the ride that best suits you, because love is what makes a Subaru a Subaru. Subaru of Gwinnett, Satellite Boulevard in Duluth, and online at SubaruofGwinnett.com.
Hey fans, Xander from Atlanta Painting Company here, and with spring on the horizon, the home team won't be the only ones painting corners in Atlanta. This spring, save 10% off all exterior projects and get a free color consultation. We understand how valuable your home is to protect your investment with our industry-leading warranty and unmatched customer service. Don't just take our word for it. We have over 900 Google reviews telling you why we are the painters you can trust. Ready to get started? Visit us online at atlantapaintingcompany.com to schedule your free home consultation. The Atlanta Painting Company. Painters you can trust.
Millions of guys suffer from erectile dysfunction. That's 1 in 4 men. And I can tell you, I'm one of them.
If you or someone you know suffer from ED, Peyronie's disease, or PE, here's 38-year emergency room doctor and founder of Total Body Therapy of Georgia, Dr. Eric Deal.
Patients who enter my office are often frustrated, hopeless, depressed, and embarrassed. I understand the problem, and I'm going to help you fix it. There are lots of competitors that don't have the credentials that I have. When you go to other clinics, you're not going to see a board-certified physician with the experience that I have. When you come to our clinic, you're going to see me. There's just not one therapy that can solve these complex issues. I'll do a complete history and physical prior to any treatment that we use. Take it from me, Dr. Deal. When it's not hard, it's really hard.
Call Dr. Deal for your free one-on-one evaluation and resolve your ED, Peyronie's, or PE issues. Total Body Therapy of Georgia, 404-777-1911, 404-777-1911, online at stopmyed.com.
Is the tax deadline causing you anxiety? Searching for elusive 1099s and trying to uncover any exemptions? If so, you're not alone. Every year, Georgians find themselves looking backwards to file with the IRS, reporting tax history. But what if you were to flip the script? Not just report your taxes, but actually planning for them. We're Master Plan Retirement Consultants. We're local, with offices in Marietta. We work with folks just like you to create a personalized, tax-efficient strategy designed to last a lifetime, a crucial piece to the holistic retirement plan. Do you have a retirement roadmap? You should. It's never too late. Visit masterplanretire.com. Don't wait any longer. Visit masterplanretire.com.
Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants, Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates, Inc., DBA Master Plan Retirement Consultants. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
Election coverage is more than polls and numbers. It's about what matters in your life and your community. And Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station cares about your community, your voice, and most importantly, your vote. So keep it all here for the latest and download the Extra 1063 app and keep up with Atlanta's only conservative voice.
Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra. Just because we talked about some Billy Strings. Board up, Goey Virgin River. Hits it out of the park. Grabs Know It All from Billy Strings. Dude, it's so good. Turn it up just a little bit. So if that don't help you right there, I don't know what will. Especially on a Monday morning when you didn't want to get out of bed. At least you get a little good music to get the morning started. And good discussion, too, about the things that are happening around the state, around the country, around the world, for that matter. And when it comes to liberals, most of them don't get it. Paul Krugman definitely don't get it. He never does. I've never seen it do. He's like a weatherman. He's the one that can get it wrong 60% of the time and keep his job.
I think the idea is that, is there a point where you become so out of touch? Whether it's you're so wealthy, you're so removed from common people, you're in your own bubble, that when you have a discussion, it becomes so foreign to you when you talk to regular people. Paul Krugman over the weekend was talking about a Quinnipiac poll where it basically showed what was going on in the state of Michigan. And keep in mind, Michigan's the area they're now freaking out. When Chuck Schumer steps up and starts talking about supporting Hamas, it's because they're freaking out about Michigan. It ain't about Hamas, it ain't about Israel. It's all about protecting what's going on in Michigan. And the people in Michigan are basically saying, here's what's going on with my personal finances. Here are the issues that I'm having. And Krugman could not wait. The writer for the long time when it comes to New York Times and economics and everything else
he's
like
an economist, yeah.
Who steps up and's like, you're not actually having that happen.
No.
You're not feeling that. And they've portrayed it as what a great lie that is going on in this country, that people are actually feeling things economically because things are so good, they actually have bought into the idea that things are bad.
Yeah, man, I think it's like the Newsweek article that came out, I don't know, it's maybe last month, when it basically challenged anyone and said, the president's not getting the credit he deserves for this robust, stellar economy. I can't believe that these plebes, these people would argue with these brilliant economists who are telling you how good the economy is. And you're like, well, okay, maybe like Lowe's is saying, they live in that bubble, and so they're at a pay rate or a level of wealth that it doesn't affect them. They're in that bubble. But for the rest of us, Rhino, we are.
We are, and we see the other reports that actually matter to people when it comes to essentials and consumer prices. And we see them at the gas pump, we see them at the grocery store, and they can sit here and tell us that, the economists that we chose, the economists that we did or talked to and told them that's how we want the stats to be thrown out, give us the numbers that make it look good, that's a different story. But when you look and see real professionals and people that we can count on that actually do this every single day and that aren't part of the political spectrum, then all of a sudden you start looking and go, hey, not only do I not need the economists, all I need is to look for myself and realize, like, right now my family's struggling.
Let me give you an example of what Krugman was throwing out there and how foreign this might be to you and your current experience. Krugman says, I keep seeing claims that, never mind the macro data, people's lived experience is of a bad economy, but consumer sentiment isn't an experience. It's a narrative. No, it's an experience.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know where he went wrong? Where I knew immediately in your statement that you read from him, or the quote from him, as soon as you said the macro data, I was like, okay, he has no idea. He's looking at this from a way. That's not the way normal people talk. They say, my grocery bill sucks. I can't afford gas.
Right.
You know, that when you use macro data, that tells me automatically that you're unplugged.
And by the way, we played the audio last week of the woman in the diner in Pennsylvania. And when they asked her about this economy is so great, what's going on here? And she flat out says, here's my gas, here's my groceries. This doesn't work for me. I'm having to choose when to take my family out and when I cannot take my family out. And again, it's just one person who's telling you about what's going on. Krugman basically takes all those people and says, well, you're under a mass disillusion.
Yeah, it's you. You're crazy. You're the one, Rhino. That's why you need those glasses, because you can't see what's going on.
Right. Yeah, I'm blind as can be. But you know what? I could still, no matter how blurry it is, I still see gas is $3.39 this morning. Now, it looked a little funny. One of them, I was like, it could be $3.89.
Right, from afar.
Right.
That's the reason you got those glasses.
But I knew it wasn't $1.77.
Yeah, right.
I knew it wasn't where it was when Donald Trump left office. The same thing this weekend. You know, we cooked some food out, went and got just kind of basic things just to have a little grill out for a little bonfire. And I was like, I just spent $134 on some hamburgers and some hot dogs and some buns. These are the kind of things that moms, suburban mothers, they see. These are the kind of things that fathers see when they go out shopping. We all know, and you look back and, you know, I was like, man, there goes half my paycheck already on groceries. People realize the way the economy is. This is why, though, that you only have the useful idiot like Paul Krugman telling you better listen to this, when the actual campaigning is about something completely different to distract you from the economy. They want to talk about abortion and women's rights. They don't want to talk about the economy.
So last week, Janet Yellen had to walk back her comments she made 3 years ago when she talked about inflation being transitory,
yes.
Remember, it's only going to be a few weeks, only going to be a couple of months. She's now had to walk that back. She apologized for saying transitory because of the status of what is going on within the country. Here's the thing that Krugman points out. He grabs some random chart and says, here's what actually happened. Looks pretty transitory to me. Dude, it's been almost 4 years of what has gone on, where suddenly I'm having to decide, do I pay for this or do I pay for that? And that was not what was happening 4 years ago.
So it's hard for me to decipher or differentiate whether he's just in the bubble, makes enough, doesn't worry about little things like that normal people have to worry about, or B, is he running cover altogether?
It's got to be both.
I would think it's a combination of the two, right? It's so clear to me that that's what it has to be, because you can't be that misleading or that dumb. I don't feel like he's a dumb man. I don't agree with him on most things, but I don't think he's a dumb man. So he's either A, willing to mislead, or B, because he's in a different tax bracket, just doesn't experience it, or, like I said, combination of the two.
Yeah, he's not experiencing. I think it's definitely a combination of the two. I think it's more of orange man bad, whatever I can do to help the Biden administration or anybody but Trump. That's what I'm going to do, because he knows deep down that the Trump economy was great. He knows that people saw a difference. Otherwise, he wouldn't be doing this story. He has to deflect towards, the economy is great. He knows better than that. He's not affected by it. He doesn't go down and speak to people in inner cities or the low-income families and say, hey, how's things going here? And they go, man, I can't afford anything. Yeah, but look at the numbers here based on all my friends that are economists. What do you think they care about?
They'd punch him out.
The other piece of comedy that we have talked about in the jobs report constantly happens, where we're seeing more full-time jobs going away, more part-time jobs replacing those. And Krugman has the nerve to tell you, as about a week and a half ago, longest stretch of under 4% unemployment since Nixon's first year in office. That's right. We haven't had that spirit here since 1969. Are you kidding me? Like, have you been out there? No, you haven't been out there. Of course, you haven't asked around what's actually going on. Yes, if you want to work at Spencer's, you can do it all day long. Fine. It's the full-time jobs with benefits that are going away. Just poof. Yeah.
We haven't had that spirit here since 1969. Is he quoting Hotel California?
Yes.
Did somebody say, hey, man, see if you can work in the lyrics to Hotel California and see if anybody notices? You know? This is so dumb.
Or he had some millennial writing things for him. They're like, ooh, I found this. Nobody's ever heard this song before.
Nobody will notice that I worked this in. I mean, that's the first thing that stood out to me. I was like, wait a minute.
And the thing that makes me laugh when you go through his mentions, and a lot of them are crazy leftists, communist supporters, everything. And then there's the random voice in the room that just says, you clearly live on your own special little planet.
Yeah. You're your own kind of stupid, Paul Krugman. It's the reason none of us listen to you, fool. Morning Extra at Extra 106.3, Tug Rhino in front office Los until 10. Knowing full well the bloodbath comment is completely out of context, Nancy Pelosi ran to the networks to spin it. And what she said, we'll tell you. And just laugh at her because she's lying to you, just like Paul Krugman. We'll talk about that next on Extra 106.3. The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's Tug, and here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
There are 3 ways corporations can come up with the money to fork over to the federal government. Number 1, they can raise their prices on whatever it is they sell. That trickles down to the individual who ends up buying that product or using that service. Number 2, they can come up with the money to pay corporate income taxes by withholding money from their shareholders, individuals. No more dividends, maybe. Or number 3, they can come up with that money by withholding salary increases or other benefits to individuals. The corporation doesn't have any wealth of its own. The Democrats know it, the Republicans know it, the media knows it.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
Introducing Sonder Health Plans, your trusted local partner for Medicare Advantage in Georgia. Only in Georgia. With Sonder, you'll get comprehensive coverage that's tailored to your needs. They offer $0 primary care visits, $0 premiums, and access to a wide network of Georgia healthcare providers. Visit SonderHealthPlans.com now to learn more about their value-based care that won't break the bank. Or call 888-428-4440. Sonder Health Plans, your doctors, your neighbors, your friends.
Join A Second Chance Bail Bond CEO Daniel Madelon and host Tug Coward for the weekly radio show Back Your Blue. They will highlight special initiatives, criminal justice programs, and community events aimed at keeping our communities safer. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to learn some good news about and from the law enforcement and justice communities. Tune in on Saturdays or catch up on all past episodes wherever you get your podcasts or at thepodcastpark.com. Join A Second Chance Bail Bond CEO Daniel Madelon and host Tug Coward for the weekly radio show Back Your Blue. They will highlight special initiatives, criminal justice programs, and community events aimed at keeping our communities safer. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to learn some good news about and from the law enforcement and justice communities. Tune in on Saturdays or catch up on all past episodes wherever you get your podcasts or at thepodcastpark.com.
No one plans on going to jail, but when it happens, it's important that you know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds, where we believe everyone deserves a second chance. Whether your loved one's been arrested in Cherokee, Clayton, or any of the other metro Atlanta counties in between, A Second Chance Bail Bonds works fast to help expedite release within hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 770-627-3235 or online at atlbail.com.
Hi, I'm Mark Beckham with Atlanta Ramjack. We specialize in only foundation repair. What makes Atlanta Ramjack special is the crews. Our crews are the most experienced people in the industry. Foundation repairs has many aspects. We do helical piers, hydraulically driven piles, we do polyfoam injection, we pressure grout, we do carbon fiber reinforcement. There's multiple solutions to foundation repairs. If you see any signs of foundation issues, please contact us at atlantaramjack.com.
You shouldn't need a degree in finance to choose a checking account. That's why we made Truist One Checking. No trade-offs, no compromise, no hassle. Just the stuff you want from a bank that cares. And that means no overdraft fees, lots of practical perks, and automatic upgrades. Truist One Checking. One simple choice. Visit truist.com/one. Truist.com/ONE. Truist Bank, member FDIC.
The Morning Extra from 6 to 10 a.m. and The Kimmer Show from 3 to 6 p.m. Only on WFOM and W292EV Marietta. Extra 106.3 FM.
They got out. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. More than 30 Americans took the first U.S. charter flight out of Haiti, escaping a country that's in chaos full of gang violence.
But getting to these charter flights to leave Haiti is dangerous. The planes are taking off from Cap Haitian because the airport in Port-au-Prince remains closed after gangs took over the city. Cap Haitian is about a 5.5-hour drive from the capital, and it runs through gang-controlled territory. The State Department is warning folks to only consider taking these charter flights if they believe they can reach Cap Haitian safely.
Fox's Madeline Rivera. Israel has raided the largest hospital in Gaza again, saying Hamas has regrouped there, using it to launch attacks.
Our war is against Hamas, not against the people of Gaza. We seek no harm to the civilians that Hamas is hiding behind.
Israeli Defense Forces Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari. North Korea has test-launched more missiles as Secretary of State Antony Blinken visits South Korea, which just did days of joint military drills with the U.S. No surprise in Russia, the president wins yet another 6-year term.
Election officials say Vladimir Putin took more than 87% of the vote. But with many of the Russian president's surviving opponents in prison, in exile, or barred from standing, critics argue the election was neither free nor fair.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. Social media censorship, an issue again at the Supreme Court this morning.
It's a case that highlights the Biden administration's legal battle over social media content. It's tied to a lawsuit that was filed by the attorneys general of Missouri and Louisiana. Here's the question. Did the White House violate social media protections by directing them to remove content related to COVID-19? Now, the Biden administration denies the charge.
Fox Business Network Cheryl Cassoni. There's a search for gunmen in Jacksonville Beach, Florida, after a shooting last night that left one person dead, 2 others injured during spring break in an area full of bars on St. Patrick's Day. America's listening to Fox News.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is something called Testofen, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text HIM to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text HIM to 321-321. That's HIM to 321-321.
You may have seen the Bortz billboard all across town. Let everyone know Bortz is back and his new home is Extra 106.3.
I was like we're playing Paul Krugman cuts this morning. Hotel California. Haven't had that spirit here since 1969 is what he used. If you've heard the Los's comment off of the statement that he made.
So dumb.
He's such a dummy.
I wasn't even born in 1969. There's so many times throughout my life that I have just had American spirit. Like, I don't know, when Operation Desert Storm and everybody put yellow flags everywhere, caring about our veterans and loving our troops for going out there and putting their lives on the line. I've had tons of spirit.
Am I awful that we never did that? We never put yellow bows around the trees, ribbon, or anything like that.
No.
We just never, I mean, we supported 100%. We just, I mean, it just never.
Well, that wasn't for them. That was for you, Tug.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like, I don't know if you noticed, I put a yellow ribbon outside.
Yeah.
As you were gone Friday.
I missed it.
I was welcoming you back.
Well, look at there, and I didn't even get to see it this morning. I need to go back out there and look for it.
Got to go take a look.
I will. I'll go find it.
Yellow bows out there for when Tug leaves and then when he comes back.
Well, crime the way it is, it probably got stolen.
Yeah. Somebody went, that's a nice bow.
You're probably not wrong about that. That is. I think I'll take it. It has to be. It's sitting here all lonely by itself. I think I'll take it. I'll liberate it, as you will. So Bruno Mars, you know the singer Bruno Mars? Y'all familiar with his stuff? Yeah, he's incredibly talented. Allegedly owes $50 million in gambling debt to the Park MGM Casino in Las Vegas, where he's entering the 9th year of his residency. Apparently, he earns $90 million annually from this deal, according to News Nation. But after taxes, that's barely enough to cover his debts there at the casino. So it seems to me, because obviously he's making millions of dollars elsewhere, right?
Sure.
Like he's doing that residency just to be able to go gamble.
That's
the way I look at it.
Like hurrying up, he's playing songs 2 times just so he could get back to a craps table.
For sure. He's like, my voice is a little low this week. I've got to get down there. I'm going to play you a couple songs. I don't feel good, but I'm going to power through it for you because you paid all this money to come see me. But really, Rhino, you're exactly right. He's like, how do I get back to the craps table quicker?
He's like, guys, I'm glad you came out. I'm coming. I'm sorry, I got to cancel tonight.
Yeah. So
$50 million?
$50 million in gambling debts to the MGM. 50. And he makes 90.
Yeah.
For his residency.
Oh, no.
He's doing nothing but just gambling every time.
He's probably having a blast, though.
And it takes care of itself. I mean, it's what he does for a living. He's making millions elsewhere, too.
Although, if I told my wife that, hey, I'm losing half my income because I'm gambling it.
I bet that's not even half his income, though.
No, he's probably got all sorts of revenue streams.
Yeah. I'm thinking.
But what's the biggest income? It's got to be $90 million.
You would think. But, I don't know, man. But, it's freaking crazy. Despite the alleged debt, his shows are set to resume in June, and tickets are available if you'd like to support his habit.
Yeah, tickets just went up 50%, though.
That's right. Nothing to do with inflation. It's actually because Bruno got to pay off his debts.
Well, outside of the gambling, he is on Team Short Guy.
Yeah,
this is where Rhino would be like, listen, that man he's 5'5" and he's making $90 million.
Okay.
I'm like, don't let anybody tell you, hey, too short for this, too short for that. That dude is an international star.
I had
and he
no
can
idea.
fit in your pocket.
I had no idea. I mean, I never knew how.
Because every time they have him on a video or have him anywhere, they have him around other little people.
Oh, okay. All right. Or have him on a box or something.
Yes, exactly.
Like they do Tom Cruise in Top Gun.
Right.
I mean, me, Tom Cruise, Kevin Hart, Bruno Mars, we can hang out, be a little
like your own rap. Yeah, like your own rap pack.
Yeah. Oh,
like
by the way, and
little
this
people's.
Is so off topic, but we ended up stumbling into Hot Ones, so we've been watching the wing eating show on YouTube here and there.
How is it?
Okay, so they had Kevin Hart on one of them from years ago. I don't think I've seen my wife and my mom, who's in town, laugh that hard together. Watching that man eat like the hottest wings you've ever seen. He just starts talking about how his lips are bleeding. And they're not bleeding, but they're that hot. Yeah. I was like, okay, I enjoy that show.
Is the point of the show where they ask you questions and you're eating these and you have to try to answer the questions through the pain?
Slowly but surely, you can no longer answer.
Yeah. So it's funny.
Wait, I've never seen this.
Oh, you haven't? Okay, I'll pull this up for you during the break.
I know of it. I've not seen it either.
It's so much fun.
John Hopkins from Zach Brown Band, he used to host this podcast, and this was before podcasts were really a thing. And he would get all the people that were on tour with him, and he's got everybody from Kid Rock to anybody in between, whatever. But what they would do is they would pick their favorite record. So whatever album, let's say it's Hotel California.
Sure.
And they would listen to it, and they would drink and talk about the songs. So they would play it. And as they were drinking, as it was playing, then between songs, they would talk about it. And by the time they got to like the 10th or 12th track, and they've been drinking that liquor, goodness gracious, they were drunk as a bicycle. That
was my Saturday night.
Yeah, exactly. But they recorded it.
There's Billy MF and Strings.
That's my favorite record.
That's why I love Drunk History as well. They go through like historical events.
Where do you see that? Is it Netflix?
I believe it's Netflix. Okay. It might be Hulu. I can't remember which one. It's Hulu, actually. Right.
Yeah. So but it's funny though. So talking through your pain when it's hot chicken wings, or talking through your favorite records when you're drunk.
Half of them just stop.
I think
half of them
every day.
Oh, I would too.
Just stop talking.
Yeah.
and they start, like one of them's Gordon Ramsay, which we had a huge kick because obviously, world-renowned chef. And he actually pauses and goes, "Have you guys killed anyone on this show?"
Yeah, right. Yeah.
This is hot.
This can't stand. Goodness gracious. Morning Extra at Extra 106.3 Tug, right in front office Lowe's. We saw it really bubbling up yesterday morning, and when Trump warned of a bloodbath for the auto industry if he loses in 2024. And he's talking about the trade deals that we have between Mexico, the United States, and Canada. The Chinese are building huge auto buildings to put together automobiles. Automobile plants is what they're building there in Mexico to get around the tariffs. Mm-hmm. And Trump recognizes it. The Biden administration, I don't know that they recognize anything. I mean, they always get it wrong. Even if they do recognize it, they'll get it wrong in dealing with it. And Trump knows that. And he said it'll be a bloodbath if Biden is elected because he's not going to be able to deal with it, just like he's not been able to deal with anything else. The media has twisted that into anything they can to convince somebody that Trump is calling for violence or will be violent if he is not elected in November, which is the most absurd nonsense that I've ever heard in my whole life, dude. And yet, all the major outlets, CBS, NBC, all of them, CNN, they all ran with it like it was, oh man, look what we got. We got a gift.
Yeah, you continue to get gifts, and you can partner that with Mike Pence and the J6 comments and everybody else's comments. They want to create fear that if this man gets in office, that he will, number one, become a dictator. Number two, have all his political opponents, including you, killed. That's what they want you to believe. They want you to vote against him for that reason and that reason alone, because it takes away the truth of the issues that really are facing Americans, like the border and the economy.
How frustrating must it be for the establishment media, for the corporate media, whether it's New York Times, MSNBC, CBS, all of them who ran with this and did what they did, to have somebody like Elon Musk who has 177 million followers, and for him to reach more people in one tweet basically saying this is total BS and post the video than they ever can. That's the power of what he's able. That's why he is hated by these people.
That's why he's despised. And Donald Trump's the same way because he used to be beloved by the corporate elites and the Hollywood folks.
All he tweeted out was legacy media lies with the video of what Trump said and then what you were shown.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. Let's hear from Nancy Pelosi because this is what she couldn't wait to get to the Sunday shows to talk about it.
He's even predicting a bloodbath. What does that mean? He's going to exact a bloodbath? There's something wrong here. How respectful I am of the American people and their goodness. But how much more do they have to see from him to understand that this isn't what our country is about? Praising Hitler.
I love the fact that she says she has so much respect for the American people. No, you don't.
Who's praising Hitler?
But she had to throw that in there, Los, because the bloodbath wasn't enough. So hey, let's make sure we get the dog whistle.
Sure.
Let's just say he's praising Hitler just to make sure.
We throw Hitler in there
just for good measure.
Right. We'll make sure that they are.
Well, Nancy praises Pol Pot.
Right.
All right. That's all I got to say, right?
Yep.
I mean, just say it.
Yeah, because then all of a sudden in your mind, okay, he's Hitler. You want him to, you want him to think that he's a Nazi, and that's why she throws that out there. There's no connection whatsoever. This is the game they will continue to play. They have to do this. They have nothing else to run on. This is the continuing of, hey, don't let a man who has the American people looking at us, pulling us apart and saying, look at the money that you're sending for wars. Look at the money that you're taking from the American people and putting into ridiculous legislation. This man has so much attention from the rest of the world. We have to stop this movement.
I still struggle to understand how the left pans off Nazism on the right, because the left are socialists and the Nazis were socialists. Like, how? I don't even know how you spin that. Like, I mean, that's...
You don't have to.
Well, right,
you
because the media will carry the water for you. I get it. But like anybody that's read any sort of history book would know better.
But if you hate the corporate media a little bit, that ain't enough. okay, you need to hate them a lot.
I despise
and you
them.
recognize that over the next
Despise
8 months, you're going to get so much incredible amounts of BS. This was just the first time they went.
First
they went, what can we do? How do we make this happen? And remember, you're looking at poll numbers that have Joe Biden getting smashed in all 7 swing states. So what are they doing now? They're trying anything they can because in the interest of power, they have to try and hold on to it for their guy that we all know is an empty suit and dementia-ridden.
Y'all, we were down in Charleston seeing my son this weekend, and we went up to his dorm room for the first time since we dropped him off, getting close to a year ago. And he had a book called How Democracies Die. And I was like, well, that's interesting. Because he's, I guess, going to have to read it for his history class. And it is all about Donald Trump. Basically, this whole thing is about Donald Trump, how horrible Donald Trump is, how he's going to bring the democracy to the end. And I was like, oh, my Lord. So I asked Jacob, I was like, do you know what this book's about? And he was like, no, I just know we got to read it. It was still in the bag. Hadn't been opened yet. Crisp pages, no dog ears, nothing. And and I was like, and I explained it to him. He was like, oh, gotcha. He was like, I think I would have figured it out as soon as I started reading it. And but how many kids have read that book in colleges and just thought, oh, well, that's exactly what the mainstream media says every night. Must be true, And so you have college professors trying to compound that,
of course,
that narrative. And look, it works. I guess there's no reason for them to stop doing it.
Well, you're supposed to look up to these professors, and a lot of people in your family tells you, hey, be respectful when you go to school, listen to professors, learn. Now the question is, does it get challenged? No, it probably won't get challenged in a lot of these classrooms. I'd hope that someone would stand up and say, hey, wait a second, isn't it a threat to democracy to remove somebody or try to remove somebody from a ballot and then have the Supreme Court overrule it? Isn't it a threat to democracy to tell people that they can't get out to vote? These are the kind of things that people need to be challenging. But yeah, this is our education system at this point.
I'm glancing at the book review for this, and I'm glad you brought it up in this way because the book, as I'm reading the review, talks about the erosion of norms and how that is what ends up getting rid of your society and being your threat to democracy. So I would ask you, who created defund the police?
That's right. Mm-hmm. The norm.
Who decided that there were more than 2 sexes?
That would be the
How does that happen? Who told me that inflation was just in my mind?
Transitory, even.
It's amazing how this goes. Who told me that someone could not be on a ballot? These are cultural norms. These are what they are. And when they point them out to you, it's because they're doing them. You're not. They are. Mm-hmm. All I'm looking to do is, hey, why don't you just count my vote, leave me alone, and let me have my sandwich? That's all I want to do, really.
Give me my sandwich.
Give me my sandwich. And you know what? This is the other thing that you have to look back and realize. January 6th, if you want to say it was a horrible day, it was a horrible day. I get it. That was one day.
Oh, but so many people died.
Yeah. Oh, so many people.
Wait, it was just one.
No, the cops dead everywhere.
No, everywhere.
Close.
No.
I know.
Yeah.
I know that's what was reported, and it's easy to believe that. Maimed, yes.
They were maimed. They couldn't walk out of there. Yeah. But when you look back in reality, today, even today, and then throughout Trump's entire presidency, the only violence, the only extremist, the only threat to democracy is when people vote for Atlanta Police and Fire Training Center, that terrorists come and throw Molotov cocktails and fire
they go to concerts.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, concerts.
Right. They just happen to bring a shield and body armor
because of all the extremists on the other side.
You got to protect themselves,
of course. Or just go through your city and start lighting your community on fire. Those are the threats to democracy. When you don't get your way and you decide to go to Portland and light a building, of course, federal building on fire. That's a threat to democracy. Setting up an autonomous zone in Seattle, that's a threat to democracy. Going and standing in front of a court case and using mob mentality to try to change a ruling, that's a threat to democracy.
I know you're not going to care for this, and I know it's going to be uncomfortable, but the thing I'm looking forward to if Donald Trump finds himself back in office, and it even so much Trump, it's just what happens when somebody only has 4 years and they don't have to worry about re-election. The next time Antifa rolls into your neighborhood, roll out the National Guard, bust some heads.
No, I think you should.
I can't wait to have every single one of those little nerds out there, and they're, I can't wait to go ahead and I'm going to say that we shouldn't build this, or we should go ahead and light this on fire. and then their skull gets cracked, and I'll be like, "Oh, that's so bad! Oh no!
Right.
Oh, it's the worst thing in the world." Sorry,
Yeah.
it's just how it goes.
Yeah, board up.
I ain't worried about
Virgin
re-election.
Goey Virgin River just said this book was featured on The Daily Show, the hard news show, The Daily Show, last week. So if Jon Stewart, was it hosted by Jon Stewart? Okay. If Jon Stewart endorses this book, you automatically know, oh, wait a minute. I see what perspective it's coming from.
It talks about demagoguery, and I get the fact that when you create a cult of personality, you lose perspective on some things. And there's an element of that does happen with Donald Trump. Now, I don't forget Operation Warp Speed. I don't forget a whole lot of these things. But what I will tell you is when I say I agree with about 85%, 90% of what you've done, I'll take the 85, 90% more so than I'll take anybody on the other side.
Yeah, I'm sure that, though, you might be jumping to conclusions before. Maybe they're going to read this book and then read a different book that tells a different story.
Counterbalances?
Yeah, like maybe like Old Man or Old Yeller, which is about an old man who doesn't know that he's president and has no idea what he's doing and just yells at press all day.
There was a second book, but I couldn't get past the first one to get to the second one. So there was a second book, maybe.
Yeah.
Glass half full, you're right.
It probably said your women's rights are being taken was the second book.
Well, Jacob does tell me that he's not 100% positive of the political stance on his professor, which gives me hope. That actually makes me go, okay, all right, well, at least there seems to be a little bit of balance.
Sure.
Because he, in high school, always knew. You could always tell. They weren't able to hide it or weren't willing to hide it, whichever one it is. We'll knock out the headlines when we come back on Extra 106.3. And then China is mad that the U.S. may take away its spying app called TikTok. We'll discuss it next. On the Morning Extra, on Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station. Tug, Rhino, and Los until 10.
If you love news and talk, you have to connect with the biggest personalities in the South at thepodcastpark.com. It's more original Atlanta content from Atlanta's hometown talk crew. From legal news to sports and politics, and even archives of interviews from years past. Find the podcast that you love and subscribe everywhere you get podcasts.
The 2024 season is just around the corner, and the Braves' home schedule is jam-packed with great matchups and even better promotions. The Braves open at home against the defending NLCS champion Arizona Diamondbacks April 5th through the 7th, followed by the New York Mets April 8th through the 11th. The Braves will honor all of their 2023 award winners in a special pregame ceremony on April 6th, and on April 8th, the Braves will then honor the 50th anniversary of Hank Aaron's record-breaking 715th home run with a special Hank Aaron bobblehead giveaway together with Truist.
There's a new home run champion of all time, and it's Henry Aaron.
And the second half of April continues with another great giveaway featuring Ronald Acuna Jr.'s 2023 Stolen Bases record bobblehead giveaway presented by Xfinity on April 24th. And 2 Blooper Kids giveaways on April 21st and the 28th. Visit Braves.com/promos to get your tickets and check out all of the fun planned this April. Atlanta Braves baseball. We are Braves country.
It's a mad world out there, but one thing is certain, everyone is trying to market something. So tune in every Saturday at 3 p.m. to the Marketing Madmen, who, along with a variety of industry expert guests, can help you make sense of it all. Whether you own a business and want tips to scale, or are a fan of the finer things in life and want to know how restaurants, golf courses, and wine companies try to sell you stuff, the Marketing Madmen is your ultimate destination for all things marketing. Tune in right here on Extra 106.3 every Saturday at 3 p.m. or search online for more content. Join the madness with the Marketing Madmen.
I enjoy a good night's sleep, and I like to breathe while I'm sleeping. My wife appreciates that, too. That's why I wear a CPAP. You want the right machine. You want expert advice. You want all the supplies that go with it. You get it all at CPAPs, etc. in Alpharetta. Machines, masks, tubing, filters, cleaning supplies, all of it, and they ship nationwide. Walk-ins, by the way, are welcome. CPAPs, etc. Alpharetta, CPAPsetc.com. Sally'sFoodTruck.com.
Well, Sally, thank you for your time, but unfortunately, we can't offer you the position.
But why?
Well, we got the results of your background check, and we saw some red flags.
Like what?
Apparently, you were accused of dog-napping a Chihuahua named Mr. Cha-Cha.
Mr. Cha-Cha was my soulmate.
At Horizon Background Screening, we find things that other companies don't. That's why companies that use us make smarter hiring decisions. Don't let the wrong hire put your company at risk. Get the real story on your candidates at horizonscreening.com.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code GIFT for an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. That's promo code GIFT.
Hey sandwich lovers, today's your lucky day. There's a whole new way to roll for lunch or dinner delight with Nucky's Hoagies in the Roswell Corners Shopping Center. Now open. Nucky's Hoagies in Roswell is family owned and operated by the Sub-Sisters, Stacy and Shannon, whose love language is food and Nucky's Hoagies, their passion. When you bite into a Nucky's Hoagie, you'll taste the difference. The softest hoagie rolls ever, along with hunger-quenching sandwich combinations. Make Nucky's Hoagies in Roswell on Woodstock Road your new favorite spot for lunch or dinner.
Did you know one of the best investments you can make? It's in yourself. At My Computer Career, in just a few months, you could start your new career in the high-demand, recession-resistant field of information technology. Isn't it time you invest in you and start a career in networking, cybersecurity, AI, or upskill to boost your current IT career? So, get the ROI you deserve at My Computer Career. No experience necessary. Start now at mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Sequoia National Golf Club is located 45 minutes west of Asheville, North Carolina, and nestled among the oak, fir, and flowered valleys in the heart of the Great Smoky Mountains. Owned by the Eastern Band of the Cherokee, this Robert Trent Jones II design offers an idyllic 18-hole journey filled with panoramic vistas on every hole, beautiful landscapes, and a fun mountain golf experience. Enjoy a relaxed lunch or afternoon beverage on the outdoor deck with 180-degree views of the Great Smoky Mountains. The surrounding community also provides golfers a welcoming environment that is rich with Native American culture and exciting year-round attractions. Sequoia National Golf Club is just 4 miles from Harrah's Cherokee Casino Resort and just a short drive from Atlanta. Experience a fun afternoon of golf with your friends or stick around for an epic stay-and-play weekend. Experience mountain golf at its finest and then go hit the casino floor. Book your tee time at sequoianational.com. That's sequoianational.com. Experience the majesty and beauty of Sequoia National, mountain golf at its finest.
Support conservative conversation on the radio in Atlanta by emailing us at sales@xtra1063.com.
Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Xtra on Xtra 1063. Good Monday morning to you. Thank you for being here. I've always been a fan of Sloppy Joe's. I loved Sloppy Joe's as a kid. There was nothing better in my mind than old Sloppy Joe Day at school. If you remember, Adam Sandler had a huge hit about him.
I was about to sing that.
How could you not, right? You're thinking Chris Farley dancing around.
As the lunch lady?
Yeah.
As the lunch lady.
This dude is so iconic. And though I think, every day being designated as something day is dumb, the reason I brought this one up, not because it's Sloppy Joe Day, but you may remember this is from the 1993 album, They're All Gonna Laugh at You. Sandler sketch comedy, and there's so many great skits on there. Do you know who the co-writer of this song is? Because I had no idea, and it's a little surprising to me. I don't know why or how or what.
It's Prince.
It's not Prince. Well, that'd be a good guess, but not Prince. Rhino, guess?
Oh, gosh. Bruno Mars?
No, you're right, because we had Bruno. He needs to get some work.
Get some extra money. I didn't know.
So much gambling debt. Board Up Joe, do you have a guess?
No. Michael Jackson.
No.
Outstanding guess.
Bob Odenkirk.
Really?
Yeah. Better Call Saul.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's the co-writer of freaking Sloppy Joe.
That's funny.
Is that weird?
Wow. Do you really need a co-writer for over and over again saying Sloppy Joe?
Well, no, but you got. Well, that's the hook, though. But you got to remember all the lyrics when he was talking about how each food gets left behind, and and the lunch lady pulls them all together and makes something wonderful for the children.
So Bob Odenkirk and David Cross ended up giving us Mr. Show with Bob and David.
Right? Yeah, the one you've introduced me to.
And that is when you talk about sketch comedy. How that launched Tenacious D. That's where that all came from. It was, all right, we're going to do this short within here. But you want to talk about highly abrasive comedy you're not supposed to do and probably could never air again. where, like, for instance, they visit. Basically, they're doing like they do a skit where it's like a Make-A-Wish where you visit a kid in the hospital, and by the time they get done visiting with the kid, they realize his life is so bad, it's a band.
Oh my Lord!
And they're basically telling him he needs to kill himself.
Oh my gosh!
Like comedy, you could never do today. Yes.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't be able to get away. But there's so much comedy you wouldn't be able to get away with today. I mean anytime. Chappelle's show would never happen today.
No chance.
It would never
No chance.
get on the air ever. 20 years ago, it was the biggest show in the world.
One of the things that jumps out to me is listening, going back and listening to comics talk about 4 or 5 years ago, and then to hear them talk today. And they talk about how there were things they were like, there's stuff in comedy you can't get, you're not able to do anymore. And this is like, 2018 to like 2021. And then we've had this rebirth in the last several years where comics are like, and we're done with this.
Yes, we're going
to. It's like we
funny.
made fun of like the the COVID stuff and everything else. Now nothing is off limits, and it really comes down to it's a pushback against woke culture.
Absolutely,
it's like how many ways can I offend you by saying things I'm not supposed to say?
And it's funny, Rhino, because many of the comics are left. I mean, they are lefty loonies. I call them that,
and they know how to go after them.
And they absolutely, but they're not afraid to. Just like what's the dude that does Trump? That's just on Saturday Night Live.
Shane Gillis.
Shane Gillis. Dude, he's a liberal, and yet is not afraid to go after liberals, and he's funny doing it. But that's what comics do, and that's what comedy does, is not being afraid, being able to say, you know what, I don't care what the norm is. I don't care that I'm not supposed to say this. I'm going to say it anyway. And that's the beauty of it. Comedy could save the world, if you ask me.
I think that's why Donald Trump is so attractive to a lot of people, and you're starting to see even more people come more towards him because people are done with the being so sensitive about everything.
It just is so old.
Yeah.
It gets so old.
We all want to laugh at politicians. We all think they're crooks.
Including the one that we like.
Yes. Look, I want to laugh at Donald Trump. I thought it was funny.
He's hysterical, man.
Yes.
Trump is so hysterical.
There's nothing wrong with having a little bit of, laughter because we deal with all this other stuff. They steal our money every single day. I don't care if you're a Republican or Democrat. No. I want you to be made fun of.
I want you to be the target.
Yeah, you're probably a jerk.
You're probably crooked.
Yeah.
Oh, comedy's truth telling.
That's right, it is.
That's right. What it really comes down to. And so I'm glad that now our stand-up comedians and everybody else feel much more comfortable about saying, you can't cancel me. I'm just going to go ahead and put this in your face, and you deal with it.
And look, so many people have done that now. I mean, you look at Chappelle, you look at, what's the dude that did Afterlife? Oh, my gosh.
Ricky
Gervais, thank you. I mean, that guy's, he doesn't give a crap what people think.
His trans jokes are amazingly
hysterical.
Really funny, but very hurtful, apparently, to the trans community. And
he's a liberal, too. It's not like he's a conservative.
Oh, no.
But that's the thing. That's why I can't figure it out for why or how for so long that these comedians were just, okay, I'm just going to kind of be quiet. And then finally, Los, you're right. They've said, okay, we're kicking in the door.
Well, if you want to look at what David Lucas did a couple of months ago, where he had this whole run. Now, he backed it off, but it was really funny to watch him issue George Floyd jokes.
Oh, yes. I just looked him up. I know exactly who this dude is. He is blown up on Instagram.
And to see the people that were walking out of there, and he's like, hey, listen, I'm not mad at you. I'm just saying, I probably would have shot him.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
Dude, so funny. That dude is hysterical. Have you seen him right
now?
Oh,
yeah.
Dude, he is hysterical. And as people are walking out, he doesn't care.
No.
He's like, adios. Gone. Y'all have a good day.
If you can't, you're that upset. People get so upset about these little things. Everybody is so offended. And it started with, I'm telling you, it's the participation trophy. Ever going back when everybody needed to be a winner, and everybody has to have a trophy, otherwise someone's feelings will get hurt. We've put these feelings ahead of facts for so long now, and it's going back probably before Barack Obama even that it started to make that change. And now you can't say anything without people going, okay, let me guess. I have to make this into a virtue signal. You can't say black eye. You can't say this. You can't say that. Let's pick another word. It is over the top, and people are sick of it. People are sick of worrying about going to jobs, saying something they don't even know that somebody decided now is, oh gosh, that's hurtful, that's racist, that's this. Sorry, people are tired of being held captive by these little tyrannical minorities.
I don't know about y'all, but I've stopped being offended. Like, not that I ever was, really, but I don't know that there's anything that offends me anymore.
No.
Nothing. Nothing. You can come after my faith, fine. It doesn't change how I feel about it.
Some of these hippies smell.
Well,
that offends me. Their smells.
Okay, well, that's
But
that's
otherwise, like,
I'm
say
just
what
saying,
you want.
Yeah, the words they say. Not that you say whatever you want.
Carlos says horrible things to me off air
all the time.
And I'm just like, I laugh. You know, it's uncomfortable sometimes, but I still laugh.
No, yeah, come on. But I don't see. I think when you get offended and you whine about it, you just handed them the victory that they were looking for to begin with.
So there's something that a friend of mine always used to say. He's like, when people get your goat, you know where your goat is?
Exactly.
Now, that's like an old school country term.
Absolutely.
If people don't know where your goat is, they can't get your goat.
That's right.
All right, I'm good.
Dude, I love that. Yeah. Don't give them the pleasure. Don't give them the victory. Don't hand them the W.
But I'm the one that, let me find that goat. Because I'll be relentless just to watch you like get upset, and because I just don't care, and because I don't have that. Yeah, say what you want about me. Growing up Jewish, do you know how many things were said to me? And I just kind of sit back and I either laugh or I just let it go. I don't care what you say. And when I first moved down here, there was a lot of things that happened. But when I was in New Hampshire, most racist place in the world, people asking to feel my horn, see if I had a tail, all those good things. I let it go. I was like, I laughed at them. Like, I thought it was funny.
Like you were
and
ignorant.
then I ran.
Like, you're really ignorant.
Then I ran with it, but I do have a tail, actually.
Like, I think about Sweet Joe Virgin River, and you might make fun of his mustache. That doesn't do it.
No.
You might make fun of
his weight.
Yeah. That doesn't do it. None of that works. None of that works on Joe. What works is when you say that his dad doesn't love him.
Yes.
Oh,
that's the moment where it gets his
that's just true.
Yeah.
That's why it hurts.
That hurts.
That part, that's in the cradle moment.
That's not true. We know
that's not true either. But look at it. Finally, he's like, Dad.
Wait a minute. What if Daddy don't? What if Daddy don't love me?
But like I said, if we don't know where to get your goat, in case of Joe, you don't know where to get his goat. Nothing bothers Joe.
No,
yeah, I mean, your dad's going to cut you off eventually and throw you out of the house.
Well, I mean, that's just natural.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point,
it's also he doesn't really love him.
Spread your wings and fly.
Yeah.
You remember, it's like that cartoon. Remember, Little Aquila. You remember the buzzard when
I'm telling you, we're going to have because again, the show keeps growing and we're doing bigger and bigger things. And one of our goals is going to be we're going to raise that $8,000 for that little tiny home. And we're going to give it to Joe.
Yes. But where are we going to put it? See, we're going to have some place to put it.
That's the challenge.
Yeah.
Can't go on top of the orange deck.
No, you
over
can't.
here in the battery.
They got that crane on the new Truist building. Maybe we could work out with them. Just put it up there. No one will know it's there.
They'll get a high.
I'm going to start looking around for a lot on Zillow.
Yeah. I mean, how much do we need? We don't even need a quarter acre.
Not even. I wouldn't even think, man.
We could get like a 16th of an acre and just throw it on there for them. Well, I'm sure we could come up with, total 28 grand, 20 grand for some, maybe even 10 grand for some land.
Jeez, man.
We can do this.
Y'all are good. Talking about donating land and things.
Don't you care about GOE?
I mean, relatively.
Yeah, not that much.
Not enough to buy $30,000 worth of land.
What if we just put it in your backyard?
But it's down a ravine. You ain't going to be able to, there's no place to level it.
Yeah, whatever. We'll put some
Is there a
cinder
little
blocks
creek?
There is, just kind of down the bottom. Yeah.
Living my van down by the river. It'd be perfect.
It's going to cost us $20,000 for 4/10 of an acre right on the edge of Atlanta.
See, that's the thing,
Let's move them out.
Hey, who's got 20 grand?
Let's get them further out.
Who's got 20 grand? I don't got 20 grand.
Hold on, I'm going to expand our search.
Yeah.
Let's see where we can put them. We're going to put them out near, Lithonia. You're going to have to go buy Lithonia now.
Oh, that's
and
fine.
Then how much is the land out there?
1.1 acres for $20,000.
There you
That's
go.
much
That's
better than a 4/10 of an acre.
Yeah. Now that'll be much more than his tiny house.
Yeah, it will. Man.
But Steve, for $28,000, we can take care of GOE.
How far is it to drive in from Lithonia? That
It's
seems
gotta
like
be a good 45 minutes.
I would imagine.
That's fine. He's saving money. In fact, we could probably get like a bunch of Defund the Forest people to go out there and live on the property in little tiny homes and tents with him.
Wouldn't you love those guys?
And they could pay.
fun.
Yeah.
They just burn things down, especially your house.
I love fires.
Yeah, that'd be great. Y'all have a continuous bonfire, mainly the first one, your home.
Every time police came, just throw things at them. It'd be fun.
I wouldn't need heating.
No, you wouldn't, but you would then be out of a place to live. See, that's the way they think, you know? Those freaking knuckleheads. TikTok is dead. Well, at least in the House of Representatives. We'll see how far this goes. I really am caught in a bit of a struggle with myself on this because, okay, this is a spying mechanism for the Chinese. We know it is. We absolutely, beyond a shadow of a doubt, know it is. So that would lead me to believe that it should be banned. But then when you give the government that kind of power, they use it against you ultimately. So which way do you go? I genuinely, in my soul, don't know which way to go on this. I'm so torn.
We are so reactionary. Sometimes we don't think the ramifications of everything we say and do, and I feel this happened with the TikTok ban. I think Donald Trump had it right in the fact that we should ban the Communist Chinese Party from having control of this app in this country. Can there be an American company that buys the version of TikTok?
So they got to divest it.
So, yeah. I don't understand, though, how we can allow the government in any way whatsoever to tell a private industry how they need to operate, whether they can operate. And that doesn't seem right to me. What I do think is that, they're going to fire back at Donald Trump and say he flip-flops because guess what? He kind of did.
He did, yeah.
By saying he was going to sign an executive order. But he also at one point did say, unless, a private business here in the country should be able to take over this TikTok business from them and buy this. I still don't know how I feel about that. I agree with you. I'm on that plan that I don't like having a valuable spy tool. I know that algorithms should be able to tell us who is spying. There should be something that could be put in place that does make sure that people are safe if they're on TikTok. So I don't really love the fact that they're killing the app, but at the same time, I kind of do.
Yeah, so that's the thing, Most. But if you think about it, Google is doing the exact same thing, right? They're all gathering information. The difference is the CCP is using it as a tool to ultimately try to destroy the United States. That's their ultimate goal. That's their stated goal.
Well, I'm very bothered by this because of this reason. You look at what's going on with Mark Zuckerberg and the boxes that he dropped and everything else. And you fast forward 4 years and here's government saying, who's your primary adversary? All right, we'll take them out for you. Mm-hmm. That's and again,
yeah, right.
We can say, oh, that's not the reason. It is the reason. It's part of the reason. It's what goes into it. But when you understand the legislation, you read into it, and looking at a foreign adversary is what they're referring to it as. That the executive wing can basically say, this is a foreign adversary. We need to have them, banned from this country. Who's to say that? And the way I joked around about it. Who's to say that a African-American who owns one of the biggest companies in the world and is spreading information is not a foreign adversary?
Or won't become one.
Oh, that's Elon.
And literally labeled one. I mean, when you think about it, it could absolutely happen, and I wouldn't put it past
And by the way, I like referring to it as African-American because it makes my wife really get confused.
Yes.
This is Extra 106.3.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines. Presented by RBM of Atlanta, your Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Monday, March 18th. Burke County authorities are praising the efforts of 5 UGA students after they helped save a mother and her 2 children on Saturday afternoon. The girls who were traveling from Savannah to Athens saw an SUV drive into a creek at the Briar Creek boat ramp. Without hesitation, the girls jumped into the water and helped get the mother and her 2 children to safety. It's not clear what led the car to go off the road. Atlanta police are investigating a shooting that happened along Howell Mill Road across from Hattie B's Hot Chicken. The victim was approached by a group of people wearing ski masks who demanded their personal belongings. The victim pulled out a gun and shot at the suspects, who returned fire, striking the victim. The suspects drove away and the victim was transported to Grady Hospital, where they're in stable condition. No arrests have been made and no additional details have been released as of yet. And in sports, the Atlanta Hawks snap a 3-game losing skid with a 110-93 win over the Los Angeles Clippers. The Hawks' West Coast swing continues tonight with a 10:30 matchup against LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers.
When we come back on Extra 106.3 for the left, the only thing they have is the bloodbath narrative. Tug, Rhino, and Los until 10. After that, the Glenn Beck program, Clay Travis and Buck Sexton. And then the local afternoon show with the Kimmer, Pete and Flounder, here on Xtra 106.3 from 3 until 6.
Atlanta radio legends collide on Xtra 106.3. The legend Neil Bortz is live every week with Atlanta legend The Kimmer. Because when you get these two guys together, who knows where we'll end up?
I am shocked. Well, not that shocked.
The Kimmer is live on your drive home every weekday afternoon from 3 to 6. And now Neil Bortz joins this show every week. And if you miss it, catch up anytime on the Xtra 106.3 app.
Atlanta, good morning. It's Front Office Lows. Let's talk about Howard Brothers and Exmark. Pro landscapers all over the South have long known about Howard Brothers. Why? Well, they sell the brands that the pros want. Brands like Exmark Turf Equipment. If you're a commercial landscaper in Atlanta and North Georgia, and you're not using an Exmark mower or Exmark equipment, you have to visit Howard Brothers and see what you are missing. But if you're a homeowner and you got a big yard and you're ready to make it look like the pros do, well, go pick up some Exmark equipment over at Howard Brothers. The grass is always greener when you take care of it with Exmark and with Howard Brothers.
Buying a new car is about way more than just a car. You want to love it and everything that comes with it. And at Subaru of Gwinnett, we get that. You want to love the website. Easy to browse, easy to shop, and an unrivaled selection so you can find the model that suits you. Like the 2024 Subaru Outback, Crosstrek, or Ascent. All offering impressive gas mileage, standard symmetrical all-wheel drive, and the tools to explore the things you love. You want to love the people. And know that every time you stop by the dealership on Satellite Boulevard in Duluth, they'll be there for you, ready to help in any way possible. And you want to love the service. We'll check that box for you also, because during the spring sales event, there's a lot to love. So stop in during the Subaru A Lot to Love event, and you'll find just that, a lot to love. Start your shopping online at SubaruofGwinnett.com and find the ride that best suits you, because love is what makes a Subaru a Subaru. Subaru of Gwinnett, Satellite Boulevard in Duluth, and online at SubaruofGwinnett.com.
This is Dan Watkins with All Four Seasons. We've always been Atlanta's best at installing and servicing garage and entry doors, but you would be surprised at how many windows we've installed as well. So we're proud to announce a new division, All Four Seasons Windows. We now have the ability to make sure every opening in your house is safe, energy efficient, and looks darn good. So give us a call today to schedule your free sales consultation. Find out how you can decrease your energy bills and increase the beauty and value of your home with All Four Seasons garage, entry doors, and windows.
Hey Atlanta, it's Mark from the Safe House. And now, the security riddle of the day. What's less secure than a fake safe from a furniture or big box store? Joe Biden's fake border policy, of course. But hey, there is good news. This time next year, Joe Biden will not be president. So drop by Atlanta Safe House and check out the largest selection of safes in the Southeast. Build a wall around your valuables with a safe from the Safe House. We have certified delivery crews to install your safe. With over 30 years in the safe business, the Safe House is the place to buy safe in Georgia. So go to AtlantaSafeHouse.com.
Hey there, it's Janelle King, host of The Janelle King Show, right here on Xtra 106.3 FM, where we are unafraid and unapologetic. We explore the topics that matter the most. You can catch us on Saturdays at 4 p.m. and encore episode on Sundays at 9 a.m. And catch up on past episodes by going to the podcast park right here at Xtra 106.3 or wherever you get your podcasts every single Tuesday. Until then, stay unafraid, stay unapologetic, and never stop seeking the truth.
Is this the year you want to grow your business? Do you want to expand your team? Build a new office? Hey, it's Tug, and I want to tell you about First Liberty Building and Loan. Aren't you exhausted by going to lenders, building a relationship, and a week later, you're dealing with a new person? You won't have to with First Liberty Building and Loan. The Frost family has been helping businesses grow since the 90s, and they can help you too. They know the patterns, they know the ebbs and flows, and they know business. Now the Frost family wants to know you. FirstLibertyGA.com. Buying a building, building a building, buying a franchise, or expanding. Reach out and spend 10 minutes with them. See if you're a fit for them and if they're a fit for you. FirstLibertyGA.com. By the way, if you're a young banker and you want to work with a team that's faith-friendly with a culture of excellence, First Liberty might be a good match. Reach out to First Liberty Building and Loan at FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
Miss any of the show? No sweat. Grab your Xtra 106.3 app and listen to show replays whenever you want. Download the Extra app now for Apple and Android by searching for XTRA 1063.
Tug, Rhino, and front office Los on the Morning Extra on Extra 1063. So much going on. At some point, we'll get around to talking about the NCAA bracket that was released yesterday and all the upsets that people are going to go and try to pick and winning, at least from Hooters, they're doing like a contest where you win wings for life or a trip to the Bahamas or something like that. There's always so many things that are tied to the NCAA tournament, and it is so much fun. Especially, I don't know about y'all, but the best thing is when in the middle of the day, when people are supposed to be working, they're actually watching basketball. That makes me smile.
Makes me really happy. Those are some of my favorite, like that first Thursday and Friday, yes. You're like, you know what? And especially if like the sun's out, you find a deck and they got all the games. Yeah. I don't move for hours. And I don't even have, I don't care about brackets. I don't care about any of it.
I do. I love them.
I will follow them. I do love them. I think they're fun, but I'm not going to fill them out and do all that stuff because I don't pay attention. But I will watch every single game and cheer on the underdog every single time.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
I can admit to this. So I have a friend of mine, her and her husband, my wife and I have known them for the better part of 20 years, and she's a huge college basketball fan. And I reach out to her one time a year. It's this week. And I say, what do I need to write down? Who are the hot teams? Who's this? Because as the guy who spent 20 years working in sports, I never paid attention to college basketball.
Just up until now, right? Because that's what 99.9% of America
I was very honest about it. I'm like, I don't know who's the hot team, who's playing well. And so I would go to this North Carolina grad and be like, who do I need to bet on?
Yeah. For me,
who's the play here?
I'm going to be cheering for College of Charleston because that's where my kid's at, right? Sure. And they're like the 13 seed taking on the 4 seed,
right?
Alabama. They're just going to get waxed.
Are they?
No, I mean, look, maybe
they're
not.
going to bust the bracket.
Look, I hope so.
Creighton was a 13 when they all of a sudden built a program off
I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I mean, most likely.
Florida Gulf Coast made it to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, right, absolutely. I'm not saying it couldn't happen. I mean, just the likelihood is not,
it's slim.
I'm not a gambling man.
Charleston's hot.
They are, dude. They're on 18-game win streak. I get it. I know. See, but Goey keeps up, but we should probably let him fill out the brackets. He's the one that keeps
Alabama has some tough losses this season.
They do,
They played some close games.
All right, you got to
teams.
We need a bracket from you.
Okay.
So that we can go through your pack.
I'm just saying it's very generic basketball talk that as long as you can throw out generic basketball talk during this time of year, people are like, tell me more.
Yeah.
Alabama has some tough losses recently. Well, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about.
Right.
He's the real deal.
He's not wrong, though, because they talked about it during the broadcast show that they do on CBS or whatever, where when they unveil it. Takes 2 hours to unveil, whatever. And they went through some of that. And that's specifically how I knew Charleston was on an 18-game win streak. I mean, great. And I wouldn't have known that. And we watched almost every College of Charleston basketball game this year. Almost every one of them. And I still didn't know.
Yeah, it is fun. I go and I'll read the teams and whatever the experts say about them for a few minutes. And then I feel like I'm an expert. I'm like, yeah, Florida's been playing
you
real
and everybody else, dude. It's not just you.
Right. But then, big injury in the SEC championship game. Now I got some questions. Everybody's everybody becomes a pro. You're dude, you don't know anything about Wichita State.
That's right.
And they're
except they're the Shockers.
Okay, but I read this.
That's exactly right. But Los is so spot on, man. It always comes down to just generic discussion about nothing, and it's almost like an episode of Seinfeld, just talking about nothing.
I already asked. I said, good morning. This is my who do I bet on this week text question, and it just says black. I was like, so it's 50-50. He's like, correct. I'm like, okay. That's it. There's only 2 teams, red or black, whichever one you want to bet on.
Whatever you choose will be just fine. And to be honest, I forget what the number is, but it's 9.2 quintillion odds.
Oh, it's impossible
of getting a perfect bracket.
That's why Warren Buffett offers the $1 million every year.
Yeah, absolutely, because he knows there's nobody going to get it. I mean, maybe one year somebody will accidentally get it, but most likely, the odds are so stacked against you.
I tried to cheat and use the AI, to fill out my bracket, and They didn't do any good for me. They're just like, well, start researching team, consider seedings, analyze matchups.
It didn't even give you the answers. It told you to go do it yourself.
Yeah.
Damn, even AI's gotten lazy.
Well, I'm trying to get lazy, dude. Trust your instincts. That's an important one.
It's like AI has become an American really quick.
Unfair.
Lazy.
So unpredictable, they say.
I love it. Hey, Los, the only thing the left has really is this whole bloodbath narrative. They got nothing else going for them, man. Everything else is falling apart at the seams.
Spent the whole weekend seeing one news organization after another just parroting this comment. You got a chance to talk about it a little bit, but I think the bigger picture of all of it is, what else do they have to really talk about?
Nothing.
What else do they have to get into? And I think that's the large question. And, until we have the next terrorist disaster or hurricane or anything else like that, this is all they really have to say. And this is all they can ever point out to try and disparage the opponent of Joe Biden. What are they going to tout about Joe Biden? We already saw the video of him in the rain over the weekend where it's like, why are you so lost, dude?
Yeah.
Every single time you appear in public, we have an issue. So what else are they going to get into? What can they possibly try and say as of now that will help pump up their guy?
Can I tell you, Aunt Peg told me this weekend, she's like, well, I don't want Biden or Trump. And I was like, okay, well, you're going to get one of them.
You get one or the other.
You're getting one or the other. I mean, it's just the way it is. But it was so interesting that she hates Donald Trump, and yet doesn't want Biden either. That tells you that Los is exactly right. They've got nothing else to talk about. So much so that even the TDS style Democrat has nothing to vote for. They don't want their guy. They don't want the other guy. They don't want their guy either. But what does that mean? Ultimately, what does that lead to? I believe Aunt Peg still goes out and votes for Joe Biden. I really do.
I think she's one of three that will go vote. I think the other two might stay at home now because, or at least, maybe the other way around. Two people will vote, one will stay at home. But regardless, I think a lot of people are tired of both options. And I can at least understand that people are upset about, they don't like any of the conflict, they don't like any fighting, they don't like they want everything to be perfect, but they don't want people to actually they don't want people to actually work on making the country better. She will go vote, maybe she won't, but I think a lot of people stay out because they don't like Biden. There's no way they can continue down this path.
Can y'all imagine if the founding fathers are like, man, this is messy, this is gonna upset some people, maybe we shouldn't do it, y'all, maybe we should just let this go, we'll just stay a British colony and keep moving forward this way.
I think they're sitting back going, we should have never put wigs on. Look at what we did to them now.
It's right down the road. These people will have lost their mind. Morning Extra at Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station. Tug, Rhino, and Los until 10. When we come back after a Neil Bortz report and a Fox News update, context is continually left out of the bloodbath comments that you heard, and I'm sure you've seen blow up on social media, and all the networks, if you spend time with those fools, have been spinning it every which way they can. But they have to. They have to have something to campaign on. We got almost like a super clip of the media doing exactly what we're talking about next on Extra 106.3.
It's time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
You Trumpsters out there, you've been listening to your boy over the weekend. You heard some of the things that he's been saying. You want some examples? Ohio, over the weekend, campaign stop. Donald Trump says that if he loses in 2024, it will likely mean the end of American democracy. Wow, he's impressed with himself, isn't he? I mean, he was completely off the rails in this speech. Just a steady stream of insults and threats. 90 minutes worth. The January 6 rioters are hostages and unbelievable patriots. And then perhaps his most dangerous statement. If he does not get elected, there's going to be a bloodbath in America. Direct quote, now if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole country. That's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. Now that, my friends, is Donald Trump directly calling for violence, a bloodbath if he doesn't get reelected. You would think he's running to be the next ruler of Haiti instead of president of the United States, and he's not qualified for either. I've long said that America is going to have to step right up to the edge. The people of America are going to have to look over that edge and see the abyss before they finally get some damn sense and take action at the polls. After that speech this weekend, my feeling is that Donald Trump is so dangerous. He wants to jail his opponents. There's going to be a bloodbath. It will be the end of democracy. He is so dangerous, well, that I can't see myself voting for him anymore. Is there a red line for you anywhere? Maybe that red line ought to be Trump's bloodbath. Third world POS. How do you think other countries are looking at America right now? Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
Pack your bags and join the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets football team in Dublin, Ireland as Toe meets leather to kick off the 2024 football season in Dublin. The Aer Lingus College Football Classic will feature your Yellow Jackets versus the Florida State Seminoles in a special Week 0 matchup on August 24th, 2024. Don't miss this unique opportunity to visit one of the world's most popular travel destinations while cheering on the Jackets on a global stage. For travel packages, tickets, and more information, go to gt2ireland.com. Sting 'em.
Hey Atlanta, it's Ben, host of the Weekend Ben Burnett Show, proudly brought to you by Peach State Pride. Each and every weekend, we bring you all the issues going on around the globe and what America's ultimate role is in order to drive our agenda forward as conservatives. And if you ever miss an episode, you can download everything I've ever done on Apple, Spotify, or you can go to the podcast park. See you around, Atlanta.
From the latest breaking news to the conservative voices you know and trust, your best new follow on social media is Extra 1063. We're at XTRA 1063 on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, and LinkedIn, and pretty much any social media you scroll through every day. And we drop exclusive giveaways, new daily content, and the latest breaking news from Georgia and across this great nation. Interact with your favorite Extra personalities. Get the latest on our live events and so much more. Follow at Extra 1063 across all your social media and keep up with Atlanta's only conservative voice. WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. The 8 a.m. hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air.
Social media censorship. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That is an issue the Supreme Court will consider this morning.
It's the most important free speech case in our lifetime.
Republican Senator Eric Schmidt was Missouri's attorney general when his state and Louisiana sued the federal government.
They argue the Biden administration's actions to suppress information on social media about the COVID-19 pandemic and the last presidential election amount to censorship. Some of this content included posts suggesting COVID-19 might have been made in a Wuhan lab, posts on mask and vaccine efficiency, and posts regarding the Hunter Biden laptop story. The Biden administration says its efforts with companies like Facebook and X is a cooperative effort to fight misinformation and improve public health.
Fox's Madeline Rivera. Former President Trump caused controversy over the weekend, saying there'd be a bloodbath if he loses the election. His supporters say those words are being taken out of context. But his ex-vice president, Mike Pence, tells CBS Face the Nation he will not endorse his old boss after Trump comments calling January 6th Capitol rioters sent to prison hostages.
Well, I think it's very unfortunate at a time that there are American hostages being held in Gaza.
Now, there are new Gaza ceasefire talks underway after Israel raided the largest hospital there again.
The Israeli Defense Forces say senior Hamas operatives have regrouped inside the Al-Shifa hospital and are using it to launch attacks. We're told the Israelis are conducting a precise operation. People nearby report panic, tanks on site and heavy gunfire all around. According to Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry, a fire broke out at the hospital entrance, causing women and children sheltering there to suffocate.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. More than 30 Americans have been rescued from Haiti on the first U.S. charter flight, escaping the gang violence that's overrun the country. Russia's president's been reelected again. Vladimir Putin wins a fifth term, getting 87% of the vote, though his critics claim it was hardly a free and fair election. America's listening to Fox News.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T.
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is something called Testofen, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text HIM to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text HIM to 321-321. That's HIM to 321-321.
No traffic, no big deal. It's the Morning Extra on 106.3.
Tug, Rhino, and Front Office Los on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. Make sure you download the Extra 106.3 app so you can listen live and on demand. Now the corporate media is buzzing, and the Biden campaign is taking Trump's bloodbath comments way out of context to, paint some sort of sinister scenario about him losing the election. And every media outlet is running it. Glenn Beck will be talking about that. You'll also be talking about Netanyahu blasting Schumer's comments, calling for new elections, for new elections in Israel is inappropriate. And then Chicago begins evicting immigrants from shelters, citing strains on resources. All of that will be in the Glenn Beck program starting at 10, just a little less than 2 hours from now. Marty is on the line, and Marty heard what Neil Bortz had to say about Trump's comments in Ohio. And Marty, he fell for the same thing that everybody else seems to be falling for.
Apparently so. He drank that Kool-Aid. And at first I thought it was satire, and I started listening, but I just can't believe that. And I respect his opinion, but to cite violence, he's going to cite violence? That's going over the edge, I think.
Yeah, I was surprised at it. So tomorrow we'll have to ask him about it. Be like, Bortz, come on. Now that you have seen the spin, now surely you don't believe that. Surely.
Well, I want to be sure that you get him a Webster's dictionary, because he's got to look up the word metaphor.
Yeah. Thank you, Marty.
Absolutely.
Yeah, look, this is something that Neil has not been shy about. He does not like Donald Trump because of his personal dealings with him at one point, and he fell for the trap. He did not go and look up the exact quote, obviously, because Neil Bortz is a smarter man than that. If he would have heard the true statement, he would have realized he was talking about more of the economy and the trade situation that we continue to have.
That's what it is.
Yep.
You always have to, when you see any of this stuff out there, this is the importance of digging a little bit deeper. And it's the reason why when I see something on Twitter, I'm always looking for that second source. All right, so somebody corroborate this. Somebody's showing you some additional information.
That's a smart way of doing it.
Because the problem is that the media thrives on you taking the chum, okay? They give you a little bit of something so that they get you over there, and you're like, okay, now they're feeding at the trough. You don't want to be feeding at that trough.
No, of course not. And that's the thing. I mean, that's the whole conversation. That is going to be the predominant conversation throughout the day. And remember, this is going to be the prominent conversation on both sides, right? On our side, on the conservative side, we're going to be pointing out how absurd it is that it's being taken out of context. Now, on the left, it is going to be more and more and more of spin.
Well, let me tell you what will happen. If he wins, if Donald Trump wins, there will be a bloodbath. Just ain't going to be on our end. It's going to be what we saw in 2020 when they tear up your cities, they burn stuff down, they kill a bunch of people. We could all pretend like 2020 didn't happen.
No, yeah, but we know it did.
The body count is significantly higher on their end than anything like January 6th. All right, one person died.
And that was a police officer that killed inside the Capitol that should have never shot.
Right.
Should have never fired.
Yet we have so many more people where they're Antifa people, they're all their stuff. They're the ones who have a bloodlust. It ain't on my end.
Yeah, no.
That's what it happens.
It's going to continue to happen, too, because they are...
You don't think they're going to get violent, Rhino? They always get violent.
Listen, I think a lot of what happened with Fonnie Willis and Judge Scott McAfee, I think a lot behind that decision was the fear of people freaking out and saying, hey, you disqualified the entire district attorney's office who happened to be led by a black woman, and they feel like if they were to do that, there would be an uprising again, because we've seen it. Anytime they want to pick something apart, they'll pick it apart and then get aggressive, and then they'll throw bombs, they'll throw fire, Molotov cocktails at, government establishments and people. They're afraid of an uprising of this tyrannical minority. They're the ones that continue to really create bloodbaths and really hurt people, including our own police officers and a lot of innocent people. There's a bloodbath happening every day in the streets. Nobody's doing a thing about it. I'd rather have Donald Trump and his rhetoric and his talk about, hey, I'm going to work and make sure China pays the most tariffs, 100% tariff on anybody who does work outside, than actual bloodbaths in our streets that we're seeing every single day.
Just remember that when you talk about January 6th, that was an incident that lasted 4 to 5 hours. Is from the start to the finish. Here's what it was. BLM and Antifa burned down your cities for 5 months. 5 months. Okay, this wasn't like just happened one night. Those bricks were showing up on your city streets on a regular basis, all leading up to the chaos of a 2020 election. That was all by design. So when they say bloodbath, oh my God, just understand, they're the ones who propagate this stuff. They're the ones who do it.
Man, it is so discouraging, because then you got to think about, okay, Trump gets elected, the country can be turned and at least pointed in the right direction, because we clearly are headed the wrong direction now. But look at all the pain that we're going to go through to get through that. And I think that's what scares it. Dude, I think that scares a lot of people that don't want that, and they will sit at home out of fear.
If you want to understand how they're thinking and what they're worried about, go back, Google World Economic Forum, Donald Trump. Okay, they're all talking about it. Yep. They all expect a Trump presidency. And so all they're doing now is trying to figure out, how do we destroy it? How do we get through it?
Like we did the first time.
How do we curtail this thing? Because the idea of a strong America that's only interested in themselves and first and foremost, that is dangerous for the rest of the world, because they will grow in power and we won't be able to handle it.
We can't. We are being attacked every single day. I understand why people don't want the same thing. I understand why people don't want Trump Biden. I sure as heck don't want Trump and Biden. I wanted Trump and then Trump. I didn't want a election interference to happen. I didn't want a stolen election. I didn't want any of that. But here we are. And I think right now, in my personal opinion, and this is the way it's going right now, is I'm going to vote for Donald Trump because of policy more than anything else. Again, I still laugh at the jokes, because to me, it's a joke. I don't care if you call him Ron DeSanctimonious. I don't care if you say he ran a bad campaign. He did. It's a fact. Nikki Haley should never have beaten Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis beat himself and took that opportunity away. Is that something that now I have to look and say, well, my life would be affected by him, by what he said? No, my life is affected by policy. My life is affected by how much money I am able to save, or whether corporations are going to be taxed to the point I can't afford food or gas or things for my family or even a home one day, or my child won't be able to because of bad policy.
Went on a great trip this weekend to Charleston, South Carolina with my family, and my Aunt Peg came along, and she is a Democrat through and through, liberal through and through, and we had a very, very short conversation. Then I excused myself from the table and said, you know what? I need to run to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
But she's getting ready to show you pictures of her cats.
Beans is the cat's name, by the way.
How do I know these people? How do I have it knocked right out of the park?
That's right. So instead of arguing and making everybody at the table uncomfortable, I was just like, okay, I'm out of here. Because she brought up he's already said he's going to be a dictator. I heard him say it. I saw it on TV. And
I'd be like, you know what, Peggy? I hope he comes for you. Hopefully you get locked down, Peggy. Maybe you need to move to Canada.
That's right.
Like, why don't you just play into these people's crazy fears that and here's where Aunt Peggy's so crazy, and sorry to jump into this.
No, I'm
thing.
glad you did. Absolutely.
They're busy locking us down.
That's right.
And they're like, oh, he's going to be a dictator?
Right.
I'd
Have
be like,
you not noticed?
Listen here, lady, you've been locking people down over the most ridiculous reasons. Have you not noticed?
Yeah. Well, the answer is no, they've not. Because they sit and listen to the mainstream media who gives them their talking points, just like they did with the dictator thing when he said, I'll be a dictator on day one when I open up the resources of energy for this country and make us incredibly successful and wealthy to be able to do all the things that we need to do, because energy, as Rhino has pointed out from the day that Biden shut it down, the most important fundamental thing that this country has and can do is make itself energy independent. But Aunt Peg, she was listening yesterday morning, I'm sure, to all of these outlets.
But as Politico.com reports tonight on the, quote, bloodbath at the RNC, headlines calling it a, quote, bloodbath. A bloodbath. Not only is it going to be a bloodbath, but after they leave New Hampshire, it's a bloodbath on her home turf. That's really tough. Trump has left a lot of corpses in his wake. I mean, we can count the bodies as part of the, quote, MAGA drive to take over Maricopa County. And the headline refers to it as an impending bloodbath. Columnist Charles Blow has a new piece for the New York Times entitled A Biden Bloodbath.
2018 midterms, you can bet that they 100% are fearing a slaughter. In fact, the word bloodbath and massacre come up frequently. The Republican Party will be destroyed.
They're using it, oh my goodness, as a bloodbath because they know an actual bloodbath is coming their way with the Democrats and the fact that the election is starting to look like it could turn into a landslide.
What are you saying? They're going to kill them all, Tug?
I'm trying not to say it. No, I don't want to say that.
If they were doing, and this is the administration, this is the teacher's lounge.
Yeah.
If they were doing such a tremendous job, they wouldn't have to cover this hard.
No, that's exactly right.
This is their own failure.
That's the thing that makes me crazy. Is like, if you ever see the message all the time, the same presentation, the same message from every outlet, do you not ever go, well, that's odd that everybody's saying the exact same thing? It's like in high school when everybody said the exact same thing. You're like, wait a minute, something ain't right about this. Right. This is being passed around and everybody, it's like the telephone game. You know what I mean? Everybody's saying the same thing, but it doesn't seem like they know what in the heck they're talking about. This one they do because they're twisting and turning it, but it's the telephone game, man. It's how many people can say the same thing and hopefully influence as many people as they possibly can, like Aunt Peg.
Yeah, this trickled downhill, right? Use this. Oh, bloodbath, they said it. They said, look what he said. How can we use this? How can we make it something that it isn't? That's what happens. They must have people that sit and listen, and then they hear a word like, how can we turn that to make it look like he's going to be a dictator, or as Nancy Pelosi said, Hitler? How do we make him out to be the most evil man in the world? Because policy, numbers, they all line up that everything he did besides his rhetoric, that really did well for Americans. Everyday Americans were better under Trump, but we got to make them feel like they should be threatened. They should fear. They should fear all the people and what they like to call the cult behind Donald Trump. That's the game that they have. They can't win on anything else. They have to pull out these words and make it something it's not.
But that's the thing, is that they use bloodbath all the time. All the time.
Different.
Right?
It's different.
Right, I guess so.
Joe Biden didn't mean it when he said that, if Bernie Sanders gets elected, this country is in for a bloodbath.
Don't you find it strange that when you talk about a MAGA cult, well, that's because people actually really enjoyed what was going on and their wallets were in a good place. We were not involved in world wars. We were not involved in any kind of conflicts around the world. We were having to send money and material and our riches into different places. And so we long for this along with energy independence. You have to be in a cult. It's a suicide cult. This is the Heaven's Gate when you talk about the Democrats. You're on a suicide cult because the amount of spending that you're doing is leading us towards the amount of recklessness that's going to drive this country right into the ground. And they think they're going to rise from the ashes. That is the very definition of cultish thinking.
Well, remember what was the lady last week? She was the Marxist or socialist. She was like, I want to burn America down. That way my ideology rises.
My ideology will survive this.
And rise from the ashes.
It takes an evil person to think to themselves, if I burn it all down, I'll be the one in charge after that.
Mm-hmm. Because we know that woman is not going to be in charge of anything because she's going to be part of the people that are burnt down.
But that's the cult-like behavior. For as much as they want to point at Rhino, like, Rhino has a dedication towards Donald Trump. He's in a cult. Hold on. Rhino was doing a lot better 4 years ago. I was doing a lot better. The rest of y'all are mostly doing a lot better.
Yep.
What is weird, what is cultish about longing for doing better versus the dedication towards what we know doesn't work? That's a cult.
Yeah.
That's a cultish behavior.
I struggle to understand why people can't see it, though. That's the part of me that is like willfully blind. What is it? Why is my Aunt Peg this way? Why is she so willfully blinded to this and is willing to create an argument over it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I just can't wrap my head around that.
Because she doesn't want to believe that she's fallen into the trap of actually being part of a cult, just a different version of a cult than she would blame, because that's what they are, aren't they? Wouldn't that be the same thing? That you continue to spread lies, you continue to manipulate words and facts in order to use them against someone you want to remove from political power. That's why she's afraid to know the truth, and not just her.
She's oblivious, though. I don't even think
she is.
I don't think she's afraid of anything. I don't think she realizes it. I genuinely, Rhino.
Well, it's become a habit.
Probably, yes. I don't believe that she recognizes at all those. I think she truly, with all of her heart, believes the things that she says, as crazy as they are.
It's a cult.
Yeah,
It's a
well,
cult.
yeah, of course.
Like when you start talking about, and I'd be like, Aunt Peg, here's some Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
You gonna drink the Kool-Aid?
Tracksuit, Kool-Aid.
Goes to your own demise. Okay, that's Heaven's Gate. Tracksuit. I like it. I love the fact that he picks up on that, like San Diego Colt.
That's right.
Hail Bob Comet. You're all going to join the alien ship.
What was the dude that had
Great
the Kool-Aid?
Nike shoes.
What's the Kool-Aid dude down? Jim Baker? Not Jim Baker.
No, Jim
Jim
Jones.
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 Jim Baker
Jones.
was the evangelist. Weird dude, right?
But that's the idea of, this is going to your demise, and it's the demise of your wallet, the demise of your country, the demise of your community, yet you're so dedicated to it. You just think to yourself, 4 more years. Just give me 4 more years. Just give me more power.
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
No.
MAGA ain't the cult.
No.
Okay?
Of course not.
That's why it's going to be extremely, extremely dangerous when Donald Trump wins. These people are going to lose their minds. They're going to be in the streets. The violence will continue. You think the summer of 2020 was bad? No, they will light everything on fire. These are the extremists we should be afraid of. The Biden administration, and I don't think your aunt's going to be running down there anytime soon and throwing Molotov cocktails, but people just like her, younger, will be so upset thinking there's no possible way Donald Trump should be allowed to have this presidency. They will lose their mind and light everything on fire.
I'm fearful of that. I
Me
really
too.
am, man. And that's why we talk about places like True Prep and just being able to be prepared for anything. And this is not a pitch for them right now. We're not even doing ads right now. It's just me thinking out loud. You have to be prepared for anything and everything that might come our way in 2024.
See, we talk about separation because, obviously the left wants to talk about like Civil War. And, you got to talk about Civil War. I was like, no, I'm talking about separation.
Right.
Now, here's the thing. When they separate from us, that's fine.
Yeah, no,
Good.
that's preferred.
Go your own way. The problem is that their separation includes violence. It always has. The communist believes in violence. That is one of the hallmarks of what they do. What I'm saying is that when you don't have to worry about being reelected, it's time to roll down some people to take care of this stuff.
No doubt, man.
Because we rolled them in last time. You know what they did? They stood and watched.
Yeah.
Let's not do that next time.
Let me
you don't like it, but that's the way it should be. Because you know what? Law and order sometimes requires
absolutely
a level of influence on these people that are violent.
That's exactly right, man. And unleash law enforcement if they start acting that way again. I want to read you a couple different headlines. This one from May the 3rd of 2022. Democrats at every level, this is from NBC News. Democrats at every level across the country are capitalizing on the potential seismic shift in the political landscape that could upend what was to be a bloodbath of a midterm election for an otherwise disillusioned party. So that's them using bloodbath. And then this weekend, former President Trump vowed at a rally there would be a bloodbath if he's not reelected. them using the same words and yet twisting when somebody else uses something that they've already used a million times. Just shows the hypocrisy, of course. Not that I need to point it out, but anyway. Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. When we come back, we've got political implications for the Fani Willis decision by Judge McAfee. Now that she can stay on the case against Donald Trump, we'll talk to Brian Robinson next on Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station.
Hey, it's Flounder, and The Kimmer Show is live every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m.
Where does this stop? They're arresting their political opponents. Yeah. They're arresting journalists they don't like, what they're reporting. Yeah. And now they're arresting people who dare speak out against them. Where does this end? That is pure fascism.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Hey, it's Los for Underdog Fantasy. First off, thank you to Victor Wembanyama last night. 33, 16, 7, and 7. Yeah, we checked all the boxes. Daddy was a winner. You can be a winner, too, when it comes to playing Underdog Fantasy. It is the fan favorite way to play fantasy sports. And guess what? The NCAA tournament is now here. The college basketball pick'em is the easiest way to get in on the action. Here's how it works. All you've got to do, because let's face it, your bracket is going to be busted by Thursday afternoon. You want to do something a little bit different. Well, join a pick'em game. Pick 2 to 5 players, build your pick'em entry, select higher or lower on the different stats for this week's NCAA tournament, and you can win up to 100 times your money. It's legal in Georgia, and it's a ton of fun to play, and it just adds a little bit of entertainment. That's what I always point out when it comes to Underdog. That is how I have added that little extra bit of fun to every single one of my games. Go to the mobile app. That's probably the easiest way. That's how I set up my account. You can also go to underdogfantasy.com. Sign up with the promo code LOS. That's LOS, and they will match up to $100 of your first deposit. Plus, you'll also get a mystery special pick as well. Again, that's Underdog Fantasy promo code LOS to get up to $100 match and that special pick. You must be 18 years or older, present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with play, go to 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Play Underdog Fantasy tonight.
Well, Stephen, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, we can't offer you the position.
Why?
Well, we ran your background check and there were several red flags.
Like what?
You were arrested 7 times for reckless driving.
So
you're applying for the school's bus driver position.
If you're in charge of hiring for your company, you know how helpful a background screening can be. That's why companies that use Horizon background screening make smarter hiring decisions. Don't let the wrong hire put your company at risk. Get the real story on your candidates at horizonscreening.com. horizonscreening.com.
Introducing Sonder Health Plans, your trusted local partner for Medicare Advantage in Georgia. Only in Georgia. With Sonder, you'll get comprehensive coverage that's tailored to your needs. They offer $0 primary care visits, $0 premiums, and access to a wide network of Georgia healthcare providers. Visit SonderHealthPlans.com now to learn more about their valued-based care that won't break the bank. Or call 888-428-4440. Sonder Health Plans, your doctors, your neighbors, your friends.
When you think of the great outdoors, do you ever think about your own backyard? Hi, this is Candace from Exovations, and have I got a tip for you. We turn backyards into great outdoor living areas. Imagine your home with a new, beautiful, and durable composite deck. Maybe with a relaxing screen porch, or maybe your family would enjoy a stone patio with a pergola to stargaze, or a covered open-air porch with a stunning tongue and groove ceiling. Add an outdoor fireplace, kitchen, or bar area for even more function and beauty. We can design and install your greatest outdoor adventure. And with Exovations, you'll get your project delivered on time, on budget, and without all that stress you usually hear about in construction. Let's make your outdoors great again. Schedule your free quote today at exovations.com. That's EXOVATIONS.com.
Electrify your senses with user-friendly technology and earth-friendlier power. Meet the all-electric 2023 Mercedes-Benz EQE 350 sedan. Satisfying for both driver and passenger with innovations that only Mercedes-Benz can deliver. Experience the all-electric 2023 Mercedes-Benz EQE 350 sedan today. Lease one for just $579 per month for 36 months with $6,703 due at signing, exclusively from RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this vehicle and many other models. Visit today to see how to qualify. Special lease rate available only to qualified customers exclusively from Mercedes-Benz Financial Service through RBM of Atlanta, Sandy Springs through April 1st, 2024. Excludes tax, tag, title, and Georgia lemon law fees. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this and other exciting offers. Visit rbmofatlanta.com or call us at 770-390-0700 for details.
Is the tax deadline causing you anxiety? Searching for elusive 1099s and trying to uncover any exemptions? If so, you're not alone. Every year, Georgians find themselves looking backwards to file with the IRS, reporting tax history. But what if you were to flip the script? Not just report your taxes, but actually planning for them. We're Master Plan Retirement Consultants. We're local, with offices in Marietta. We work with folks just like you to create a personalized, tax-efficient strategy designed to last a lifetime, a crucial piece to the holistic retirement plan. Do you have a retirement roadmap? You should. It's never too late. Visit masterplanretire.com. Don't wait any longer. Visit masterplanretire.com.
Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants, Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates, Inc., DBA Master Plan Retirement Consultants. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
Finally, there is conservative talk in Atlanta, Georgia.
Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. We're on the air until 10, and we welcome political analyst from Robinson Republic, Brian Robinson, to the show. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. Good morning, guys.
Glad to have you. When I was driving this Friday over to Charleston, South Carolina, when the judge came out with a decision about Fonnie Willis, and I couldn't help to think to myself, he did not have the courage to make the right decision. Do you see it that way, Brian? And if so, why wasn't he brave enough to do the right thing, do you think?
Well, it is interesting because he takes her to the woodshed in that opinion, saying it's a tremendous lack of judgment and there's an odor of mendacity, meaning that he knows she and Nathan Wade were lying about the time their relationship started. And he called her conduct on the stand unprofessional. I mean, these are really harsh terms for someone that the left in America has lionized as this great prosecutor, this courageous prosecutor. So my question is this. Given all of that, given the trip to the woodshed, it does seem he thinks that they perjured themselves. And if that's enough to take Nathan Wade off, then what is the argument for why she is allowed to say either she lied to the court or she didn't? And I think this is another one of those examples where the cover-up was worse than the crime. I think if they had just been above board about this and been straightforward, they would have been in a much better spot, not just in the court of law, but in the court of public opinion. They weren't fooling anybody. Everyone could see that they were lying. When Nathan Wade's former law partner took the stand, we knew what he had said in those text messages to the defense attorney, Ashley Merchant, and for us to believe 6 months later, he has no memory of any of this. And all of this stuff that he spoke definitively about at the end of 2023, well, it's all fuzzy now. None of that really stood up as credible to me. So I think it's a fair question. But look, why do I think the judge did it? The judge is a politician in Fulton County. Let's not look beyond that. He qualified for office in the middle of this opinion writing. And I think that it would have ended his political career probably if he had removed her from the case, and by doing so, ending the case, because no other prosecutor wants to touch this. not just because it would take so many resources, but because the facts of the case don't really necessarily point to a crime.
Brian Robinson joining us here on the Morning Extra. You see him on Fox News. Of course, you see him on the Georgia Gang as well. Brian, I think a lot of it, too, was the pressure of the relationship between them, the fact that he used to work with her as well. And I think there's a lot there, but there wasn't a lot of ways to really prove anything with actual evidence because a lot of this was hearsay. But to see these so-called lawyers or officers of the court forget how to act in a court and forget what they're supposed to do and say in a court was amazing to me. Do you think that will be taken up by maybe the state legislator when they have the counsel and the prosecuting DA counsel committee that's looking into this now? Do you think that will come up with them?
Well, one thing that's been interesting to note here is a lot of the Republican leadership in the legislature that was behind the prosecutor oversight panel last year, they were very clear last year, this is not about Fani Willis. This is more about DAs like Deborah Gonzalez in Athens, who are refusing to prosecute crimes and whose incompetence is leading to a public safety crisis in their communities. That's what it's about, not about Fani. They were very clear. And those same leaders, having watched what has happened in the last 6 months, are now saying, yeah, I think the oversight panel should take a look at some of what is happening in Fulton County with Fani Willis. So there has been a change of opinion, and it's not a political change of opinion. It's not because the winds changed. It's because the facts changed, and a lot of what she did there should be called into question. I tell you, my biggest issue with her was standing up at that church and saying that all of these things are racist, that he was being targeted because he was the black prosecutor, when the underlying facts of the accusations we know now were accurate. She didn't even address the facts of the case when she went out there and said it was racist. That is inflammatory rhetoric. That is dangerous rhetoric. And I am glad that Judge McAfee called that out specifically as improper for a judicial official to do. He's absolutely right. It is something that she needs to be held to account for. She said, I am not on trial. They are. I will tell you right now, she is on trial. She is on trial in the court of public opinion, and she is on trial in Georgia as far as how we are going to respond to what she has done, not in this case, but in circumstances around this case.
Brian Robinson is our guest on the Morning Extra. And let me follow up right there because I don't believe Fani Willis is out of the woods by a long shot as of now. What would have been the fallout for the rest of the cases that she prosecuted in Fulton County had she been removed from this case, obviously a landmark case in the state?
Well, I don't know that would have any bearing on the other cases that are moving forward in Fulton County at all, since Nathan Wade was specifically working on this case. This is the case where there was an alleged conflict of interest. But I think we need to begin to question how the office is being run. You look at some of the other RICO cases against gang members, and they have been dragging on and on and on and on, and that's a delay in justice. And I think these huge cases that she is deciding to undertake are blocking and tackling of the DA's office, just prosecuting regular crime in the county. And I think a lot of Fulton County voters, and I know most of them are Democrats, but no one wants to live in an unsafe environment. And coming out of COVID, when we had that crime wave, the voters in Fulton County wanted a prosecutor. They wanted the police departments focused on stopping violent crime. And I think Fani Willis took her eye off the ball very early in her term. She got elected in 2020, right there in the heart of COVID. She had a chance to really build bipartisan bridges, be a crime fighter, and just have a sterling reputation in the community. From the very beginning, I've said some of the stuff that Trump is in trouble for in Fulton County, a lot of it's not good. I don't defend everything that he did, but there's a difference between that and committing a crime. And that charge against him is dependent on her credibility, her believability with voters, not only in Fulton County, but across America. And now her credibility has been sullied.
I'm with you, Brian. I don't worship the altar of Trump either. Do I think he's a better choice than Joe Biden? Absolutely. Do I think that the time he was in office, we were in a better situation as Georgians and as Americans? Absolutely. But I want to go back to something you said as we talked to Brian Robinson from Robinson Republic. He's a political analyst. You see him all over the media, for that matter. Glad to have him on this morning. That she will be held accountable, and the judge was very direct in the things that he said about her and, her professionalism. I don't see that doing anything to hold her accountable. Yes, it's strongly worded, but it's like when somebody says, well, I'm going to send a strongly worded email. That's what that comes off to me as, and it does nothing really to set her straight, to hold her accountable for anything.
No, you are not wrong.
Okay. I didn't feel like I was, but I'm glad you confirmed it.
Yeah, no, look, I do think that there is an avenue for holding her accountable through the prosecutor oversight panel. And, of course, Dems are going to say that this is a Republican panel, this is politicized, just like Republicans say the prosecution of Trump is politicized. Fine, we can have that conversation. But she's also an elected official, and Fulton County voters have a chance now to make a decision on her this year and hold her accountable. Do I think that they will? No, probably not. There's not a serious challenge to her here. Christian Y. Smith is running against her as a Democrat. He is a protest option. If Democrats are upset by how the case has been run, I don't know.
And I'm friends with Christian. I like him a whole bunch. He's a really, really nice fella.
That's what I hear. I hear he's very nice. He ran for AG last year, and he would see the Attorney General and his wife on the campaign trail, and they actually struck up a really cordial relationship because the guy is a nice guy. So, do I think that's going to be where she's held accountable? No. But I also kind of throw my hands up in the air there and say, hey, this is a democracy. The voters of Fulton County can have whoever they want as DA, but she does have to go and pass that bar with voters.
Brian Robinson joining us here. Let's talk about the election here in Georgia. And after we see the primary, you doing what you do and dealing with candidates right now, do you see a swing in some of the low-income communities or the black vote here in Atlanta, moving away from Biden, although they overwhelmingly voted for him in 2020, but maybe moving towards Trump this year because of some of the weaponization against Donald Trump, or just because of what's hitting them because of the economy?
I think the economy is a major driver there, and what we're seeing amongst minority voters is real. Whether or not Trump is able to maintain the very high levels that we're seeing in polling right now, sometimes in the mid-20s, which we've never seen historically. Brian Kemp probably did somewhere in there with minorities in his reelect, but even that's a stretch. That's a really, really high bar to get over. And it's being driven by economic uncertainty, being driven by many traditional Democrats' belief that Joe Biden hasn't delivered for them. But part of it is responding to President Trump's populist messaging, which is aimed at blue-collar voters, at working-class people of any race. And that is sort of penetrating. On the flip side, you see Republicans and Trump losing some white college-educated voters because when you squeeze the balloon, that's what happens. But is it real? Yeah, it's real. And we're, like I said, with black voters into the 20s now, which would be historic and very important for Republicans moving forward in Georgia. If we want to maintain our majorities here into the 2030s, you're going to have to really chip into the black vote to do it, because 31% of Georgia voters are black, and you particularly with the loss of some of the white voters, you got to make it up somewhere. So it's hugely important nationally, but really important here if we're going to keep control of the General Assembly and the governorship in 2026 and 2030. So Asian American voters have gone from, in the high 60s Democrats to closer to 50-50. Latino Americans, exact same, now much closer to 50-50. Those are not massive voter groups in Georgia, but they are rapidly growing voter groups. And so over the next 10 years, you're going to see their influence really change. And them going from 65% Dem to 50% Dem, that's hugely monumental in elections statewide where margins in recent terms have been 1%.
Brian Robinson, as we wrap up, final thing. Who's winning in November?
I tell you, I think the polls are going to close a little bit. But if you look at the swing states, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, North Carolina, which I wouldn't even count as a swing state anymore, Trump's got leads of 5 points or more in most of them and held it fairly consistently. I think if we get into the summer and those numbers are like that, you're going to see a congealing of those numbers. And we don't have massive swings in our electorate like we did in the 1980s when George H.W. Bush came from 30 points down against Dukakis to win. That just doesn't happen in America anymore. So if Trump can hold basically to midsummer with these numbers, he's going to win. But, I mean, he would have collapsed in all of those states. He is winning in all of those swing states right now. That is remarkable. He lost most of them in 2020, including Georgia, Arizona. He's got strong leads there. The lead in Georgia is actually remarkable to me. That you just don't see 8-point leads in Georgia these days, except for an incumbent governor like Brian Kemp.
There you go. Brian Robinson, he's a political analyst. You see him across media, and glad to have him on from Robinson Republic this morning. Brian, thanks so much, man. I hope you have a great day.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you all. Bye.
Yeah, man. Good fella there. We'll talk about how heart failure is up 937% in the military next. Why do you think that is? You think about that, ponder that just for a few minutes, and we'll give you the answer. Coming up on Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station.
Stream Clay Travis and Buck Sexton, Glenn Beck, Fox News, and even NASCAR on Sundays, anywhere on the Extra 106.3 app. Download the app now and get 24/7 access to the live stream, the latest news, and everything you need to know about Atlanta's only conservative talk station. Download the Extra 106.3 app for Apple or Android and check out even more great original content at thepodcastpark.com.
What are your plans for your business this year? Hey, it's Tug. Do you want to expand and grow? Aren't you exhausted by going to lenders, building a relationship, and a week later, you got a new person to deal with? You have to start all over again? You don't have that with First Liberty Building and Loan. The Frost family has been helping businesses grow since the 90s, and they want to know you. Unlike big banks, they want to partner with you. The Frost family knows the patterns. They know the ebbs and flows. They know business. Get to know them at firstlibertyga.com. Building a building, buying a franchise, expanding. Reach out to them. Spend 10 minutes with them. See if you're a fit for them and if they're a fit for you. You do that at firstlibertyga.com. And by the way, if you're a young banker and want to work with a team that is faith-friendly and has a culture of excellence, First Liberty might be a good match. Reach out to them today. First Liberty Building and Loan. firstlibertyga.com. That's firstlibertyga.com.
Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watch Company, where quality and value make the difference. Locally owned and located in Sandy Springs, offering you the finest selection of unique diamonds, sapphires, rubies, and emerald jewelry, as well as other fine gemstones. Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watches has been servicing Rolex watches for over 30 years, and their Rolex-trained watchmaker will service your watch in their state-of-the-art Rolex service center in their store. Lee Brandt uses only genuine Rolex parts, and their estimates are free. Drop by Lee Brandt in the Trader Joe's Shopping Center in Sandy Springs or visit LeeBrandt.com.
Buying a new car is about way more than just a car. You want to love it and everything that comes with it. And at Subaru of Gwinnett, we get that. You want to love the website. Easy to browse, easy to shop, and an unrivaled selection so you can find the model that suits you. Like the 2024 Subaru Outback, Crosstrek, or Ascent. All offering impressive gas mileage, standard symmetrical all-wheel drive, and the tools to explore the things you love. You want to love the people. And know that every time you stop by the dealership on Satellite Boulevard in Duluth, they'll be there for you, ready to help in any way possible. And you want to love the service. We'll check that box for you also, because during the spring sales event, there's a lot to love. So stop in during the Subaru A Lot to Love event, and you'll find just that, a lot to love. Start your shopping online at SubaruofGwinnett.com and find the ride that best suits you, because love is what makes a Subaru a Subaru. Subaru of Gwinnett, Satellite Boulevard in Duluth, and online at SubaruofGwinnett.com.
Join A Second Chance Bail Bond CEO Daniel Madelon and host Tug Coward for the weekly radio show Back Your Blue. They will highlight special initiatives, criminal justice programs, and community events aimed at keeping our communities safer. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to learn some good news about and from the law enforcement and justice communities. Tune in on Saturdays or catch up on all past episodes wherever you get your podcasts or at thepodcastpark.com.
This is Dan Watkins with All Four Seasons. We've always been Atlanta's best at installing and servicing garage and entry doors, but you would be surprised at how many windows we've installed as well. So we're proud to announce a new division, All Four Seasons Windows. We now have the ability to make sure every opening in your house is safe, energy efficient, and looks darn good. So give us a call today to schedule your free sales consultation. Find out how you can decrease your energy bills and increase the beauty and value of your home with All Four Seasons garage, entry doors, and windows.
Neil Borch here. Maybe you've already taken the steps to improve your health, maybe save your life. You're using a CPAP for your sleep apnea. I've been using one for well over 20 years. So right now I'm here to tell you about a source for CPAPs and CPAP supplies here in the Atlanta area. CPAPs, etc. They're in Alpharetta. They have whatever you need. Roddy and Sharon are your CPAP experts, and they'll ship nationwide. More information, CPAPs.com.
Sequoia National Golf Club is located 45 minutes west of Asheville, North Carolina, and nestled among the oak, fir, and flowered valleys in the heart of the Great Smoky Mountains. Owned by the Eastern Band of the Cherokee, this Robert Trent Jones II design offers an idyllic 18-hole journey filled with panoramic vistas on every hole, beautiful landscapes, and a fun mountain golf experience. Enjoy a relaxed lunch or afternoon beverage on the outdoor deck with 180-degree views of the Great Smoky Mountains. The surrounding community also provides golfers a welcoming environment that is rich with Native American culture and exciting year-round attractions. Sequoia National Golf Club is just 4 miles from Harrah's Cherokee Casino Resort and just a short drive from Atlanta. Experience a fun afternoon of golf with your friends or stick around for an epic stay-and-play weekend. Experience mountain golf at its finest and then go hit the casino floor. Book your tee time at sequoianational.com. That's sequoianational.com. Experience the majesty and beauty of Sequoia National, mountain golf at its finest.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines. Presented by RBM of Atlanta, your Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
And here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Monday, March 18th. Burke County authorities are praising the efforts of 5 UGA students after they helped save a mother and her 2 children on Saturday afternoon. The girls who were traveling from Savannah to Athens saw an SUV drive into a creek at the Briar Creek boat ramp. Without hesitation, the girls jumped into the water and helped the mother and her 2 children to safety. It's not clear what led the car to go off the road. Atlanta police are investigating a shooting that happened along Howell Mill Road across from Hattie B's Hot Chicken. The victim was approached by a group of people wearing ski masks who demanded their personal belongings. The victim pulled out a gun and shot at the suspects, who returned fire, striking the victim. The suspects drove away and the victim was transported to Grady Hospital, where they are in stable condition. No arrests have been made and no additional details have been released. And in sports, the Atlanta Hawks snap a 3-game losing skid with a 110-93 win over the Los Angeles Clippers. The Hawks' West Coast swing continues tonight with a 10:30 matchup against LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers.
8 o'clock hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, one of the few second-generation locally owned companies in Atlanta dealing with HVAC. With Central, you're not just a number, you're a member of the family. 770-GET-HEAT and centralheat.com. There is something alarming happening in the United States military, and Dr. Peter McCullough is just merely pointing it out, Los.
We're now 2 years into this, something that we brought up on this show. And we talked about when you looked at some of the medical data that was across our military, the amount of myocarditis, different heart issues, pericarditis, cancers, things like that had jumped up. And it was all tied into when the vaccination program began. And the U.S. military ended up, when you had a number of whistleblowers, they went back and said, no, this data where it shows an explosion, in fact, our data from the previous years was wrong. So they smoothed it to make it all look the same.
That's a Biden administration move right there.
Just how it goes.
Seems fitting for them because they do the same thing with job numbers.
So Dr. Peter McCullough, who is the most published cardiologist in this country, and Senator Ron Johnson have been digging into this. This started with Lieutenant Ted Macy, who works in the Navy. This is not a medical doctor. What this person does is they're a health administrator. They look for the trends. They look for the information of what is going on. He, along with a number of other whistleblowers, have pointed this out. So if we just talk about the U.S. Navy and what is going on there, when it comes to heart failure, it's up 937%.
Jeez.
937%. Not 9%, not 37%. 937%.
They're probably eating bad. Do you think that that's a safety signal?
No.
937%.
A flashing red light? No, definitely not.
How about this? A 63% increase in forms of heart disease, a 69% hypertensive disease, 36% hypertensive disease, along with cardiomyopathy. These are things that are safety signals that are happening, and yet now we've kind of pulled some of these restrictions back. Now you've seen the U.S. Army basically be like, well, we don't really have to give you this jab, but the damage has already been done. The damage has happened. Mm-hmm. And so every single one of these people that steps forward and says, here's what the data is, it's really hard for the U.S. military and the U.S. government to cover this stuff up any longer.
Well, but let me tell you, they're going to try as long as they possibly can. They are going to manipulate, move, because that's the last thing they want right now is that making headlines. They don't want that in the mainstream media because things are so bad for Joe Biden. That would be the kicker. That would be the death nail. That would be the nail in the coffin, if you will.
We talk about what happens in a late stage republic, and one of them is the relaxing of military standards. That's one of the things that goes on. We've done this to ourselves. There's a reason why when you're down by 25% and we're having to take people that really don't qualify, and yet then we plug them too? Like, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck with service.
Man, it's just things look so dire right now for the military. And this is all the top heavy folks, all the big brass in the White House and the Pentagon, the people that consult there. There's still many, many great men and women in uniform on the ground or on the ships, in battalions and in units. But those people are leaving at an alarming rate. You're seeing it. I see it with people that I served with that are at the point in their career now where they can either continue on and get a full retirement at 30 years, or they're, most people say 20, but if you want your full retirement, you got to go 30, right? Yeah. And so they're leaving at 20 to get the partial retirement and be a civilian. And let me tell you, that leaves us with a lot of people without a lot of experience.
Sure, without a lot of experience and without the ability to talk to their family, because a lot of military families, their father, their grandfather, their great-grandfather, this passes down. And like myself, my father and my grandfather, that was why I was like, hey, I want to join the military. But now you're going to lose those recruits. And we're losing recruits because they're going back and they're like, I got out as quick as I could. It's not the same military. They don't care about the actual function of the military more than they do about whether a man is a woman and all the other things they're putting in. Plus, they took away their rights and our rights. And then this is a huge problem. People will not go back. Military families will cease to exist if we continue down this path.
937%.
Not 9%, not 37%. 937%.
Is that a safety signal? Is that a health safety signal?
It should be. This should be a story on every broadcast, on every network across the country. And yet, the only place you're going to hear it is here.
If they really wanted to burn down Trump, they'd go down this road, but they're so complicit in it, they never bring it up.
Morning Xtra and Extra 106.3, 8 o'clock hours brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier expert, 770-GET-HEAT or centralheat.com. When we come back, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Why I don't like politics in church. That's what I'm trying to say.
I was about to say, you can start over if you want. We'll redo the whole 8 o'clock hour.
That's what we decide. Why I don't like politics in church. That's what we're doing next on Extra 106.3.
time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3.
How about some statistics on single-parent households? I'm quoting from some studies here. The strongest predictor of whether or not a person is going to end up in prison is whether or not they were raised by a single parent. 70% of inmates in state juvenile detention centers serving long sentences, single mothers. 72% of juvenile murderers, 60% of rapists, single mother homes. And after controlling for single motherhood, the difference between black and white crime disappears, folks. It disappears. You can find these statistics yourself. I don't have some sort of spectacular memory. Just Google fatherless, single mother home statistics. How did this happen? Democrat Party in the 1970s, Lyndon Johnson. To make it simple, they just told mothers needing welfare that you cannot get welfare payments if there is a man living in your home. Bye-bye, fathers. Bye-bye, baby daddies. We want that check. You're out of here. The problem here is that the left, Democrats, liberals, progressives, just cannot accept, they won't accept this idea that single-parent households are a primary cause of the crime we have in this country. In fact, now listen to this. Just 2 years ago, a study produced by the left said that family privilege needs to be dismantled. Hear that? Family privilege. And that anybody who champions two-parent families is simply helping to promote white supremacy. That's right, folks. In this day and age, championing, supporting, promoting the idea of raising children with two parents in the household is promoting white supremacy. Can't make it up. Neil Bortz, Xtra 106.3.
Hey there, it's Janelle King, host of The Janelle King Show, right here on Xtra 106.3 FM, where we are unafraid and unapologetic. We explore the topics that matter the most. You can catch us on Saturdays at 4 p.m. and encore episode on Sundays at 9 a.m. And catch up on past episodes by going to the podcast park right here at Xtra 106.3 or wherever you get your podcasts every single Tuesday. Until then, stay unafraid, stay unapologetic, and never stop seeking the truth.
Everybody wants to feel like they're getting a good deal. That's why EMC Security customers love their monthly rate from just $16.95. In fact, for such a low price, you'd think you'd have to sacrifice service or quality. Not with EMC Security. You get it all. Low price, A+ Better Business Bureau rated service, lightning fast response, and flexible purchasing options, including their popular no contract option. Visit emcsecurity.com or call 770-963-0305 today to learn how you can get a free security camera with new activation.
It's a mad world out there, but one thing is certain, everyone is trying to market something. So tune in every Saturday at 3 p.m. to the Marketing Madmen, who, along with a variety of industry expert guests, can help you make sense of it all. Whether you own a business and want tips to scale, or are a fan of the finer things in life and want to know how restaurants, golf courses, and wine companies try to sell you stuff, the Marketing Madmen is your ultimate destination for all things marketing. Tune in right here on Xtra 106.3 every Saturday at 3 p.m. or search online for more content. Join the madness with the Marketing Madmen.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 9 a.m. hour is presented by Southern Exteriors. Quality and precision you.
Was it government censorship or cooperation? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The Supreme Court will consider that, hearing a social media case next hour after Missouri and Louisiana sued.
Justices will decide if the Biden administration crossed the line when communicating with tech companies to remove posts considered to be disinformation. Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey on the Fox Business Network's Mornings with Maria says he will argue the administration's actions violated free speech.
Everyone who's used social media has been negatively impacted by this vast censorship regime.
The case could determine how much power the government has to tell tech companies to police their content on issues like COVID and election security.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz. More Americans are getting out of Haiti today.
A second chartered plane carrying evacuating U.S. citizens from Haiti
Haiti is expected to arrive this afternoon in Fort Lauderdale. The U.S. State Department is arranging the flights, encouraging Americans to leave the Caribbean nation, which is effectually now under the control of violent gangs. A flight Sunday arrived in Miami, carrying dozens of U.S. citizens.
Fox's Evan Brown amid a new round of talks today, trying to work out a ceasefire in Gaza. Fox's Trey Yingst reports from Tel Aviv.
Israeli forces once again entered Gaza's largest hospital, the Al-Shifa complex in the heart of Gaza City. Firefights erupting as Israeli forces entered the compound. Now, Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, the top spokesman for the Israeli military, said Israel is acting on intelligence that senior Hamas militants are sheltering in the hospital.
We call upon all Hamas terrorists hiding in hospital, surrender immediately.
Police have located one of the suspected gunmen in last night's shooting in Jacksonville Beach, Florida, that left one person dead, 2 injured. Police Chief Gene Paul Smith just said that suspect
is a certified gang member through the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. On incident 1, he self-reported to the hospital.
America's listening to Fox News.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T.
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is something called Testofen, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text HIM to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text HIM to 321-321. That's HIM to 321-321.
Grow your business organically with Atlanta's fastest growing news and talk station, Xtra 1063. Get started today by emailing sales@xtra1063.com.
I was baffled yesterday. I guess it was why something happened on Saturday versus yesterday. Everybody knows yesterday was St. Patrick's Day. My wife and I went over to visit our son in Charleston, and they had their St. Patrick's Day parade on Saturday. And I was just like, well, why wouldn't you just do it on Sunday, since that's St. Patrick's Day? It seemed to be so obvious to me. I scratched my head all day long. Maybe it's because people have more time or flexibility on Sunday. I couldn't figure it out, to be honest with you.
I don't get it. Well, I mean, I guess sometimes we celebrate the 4th of July on a Friday instead of sometimes.
I always thought,
I don't know.
I've never celebrated.
People have fireworks shows on a Saturday when it should have been on Thursday.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Maybe it's, you know what? You're right about that. Okay. But yeah, I don't
get the St. Patrick's
one.
Well,
I mean, I don't get any of them.
But I get drunk, whatever
maybe
I want.
That's it, though. People getting lit up, and they're like, we don't want to send people back to work with a hangover.
July 4th lands on a Thursday this week.
Okay.
Or this year.
This year.
Yeah. So Friday night we'll watch
Friday night we'll probably get big fireworks.
Yeah, maybe so.
Unless you want to do a fireworks show on a Thursday night. Now, Thursday's a new Friday, but if you want to get the kiddies out there.
Yeah. Maybe that's it.
It's a summer,
Okay.
I say we just get to the orange deck and launch them off the roof and invite people out here.
Yes, absolutely. I don't know why we wouldn't do that. I think that's a great idea.
I'm going to Tug's house. He's planning a giant Juneteenth presentation.
That's right. Absolutely.
Fireworks display and everything else.
It's going to be huge.
Yes.
The celebration like no other.
Like you've never seen before.
That's right.
Tickets are available.
Right.
TugCowart.com.
Nominal fee, too.
It's going to be like $50.
Yeah, right. It's going to be like $250. I got to pay for these fireworks. What are you talking about?
Let's be real.
I got an arsenal back here.
The economy's great. Inflation, don't worry about it. We got to just...
I got a fireworks show for $200.
I don't know if y'all partook in anything green yesterday, wearing green.
I did.
Did you?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Did you just wear green or did you eat greens?
I wore green.
Okay.
Yeah, wore all sorts of green. We all did.
Okay. All right. Well, good. Lois, anything? Did you?
Yeah, we were. Our coach of our younger daughter's volleyball team required green for the whole weekend, so we wore green the whole weekend.
Okay, well, good. I think it makes sense. My wife was into it, too. She wore a green dress on Saturday and then wore a green shirt yesterday as we were driving home to Charleston. But I want you to ponder this for a minute. Because this reminds me of the story that was blowing up on social media, and rightfully so. The New Orleans Police Department has a rat problem. And their superintendent told the city council that they've been eating weed from the evidence room. So you got a bunch of high rats in New Orleans. This is Police Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick with the story. Check this out.
The rats eating our marijuana, they're all high. The uncleanliness is off the charts. Rodent infestation. People shouldn't have to come to their office and see rodent drippings on their desk.
No.
That is not valuing your people. In the evidence property room, major rodents and the rats eating our marijuana, they're all high.
The rats eating our marijuana, and they're all high.
See, I want to see the ones that ate the cocaine.
Seriously, because there had to be some in there, right?
I mean, it's an evidence room. Okay,
That's
so
right. There's going to be some in there.
The problem is that it's a rat infestation, and I love this story, and I love the thought of rats just like sitting on a desk and just sitting back with the big full belly, just eating Cheetos because they get the munchies from all the weed they ate out of the evidence room.
I was listening to a deal with Gordon Ramsay, and he talked about, like, because he does that whole Kitchen Nightmare show, and he talked about like the worst things he's run into, and he was like, rats the size of small cat. And I just thought to myself, I'm like, like, could you imagine if you walked into somebody's kitchen, Rhino, as a professional, and you saw a rat the size of a small cat? You'd, oh my God. Like, enough of that.
Especially one that was eating weed and high.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the problem, though. As fun as the story is, you'd think police officers would know better that if you just have the marijuana in a bag, doesn't matter how much they eat, they're not going to get high. It's never been activated. It's got to be activated by a heat source, and even if it's in your body. Now, if it were gummies, maybe it's gummy marijuana.
Maybe it could be.
Then those rats are high as can be.
Man, oh man, any way it goes.
I would
just
love
the
it.
thought of it, the story made me giggle. I couldn't help it. And then the way the superintendent, the rats are high.
You think the rats are just sitting there giggling and laughing because they're so high? They don't know what's going on.
Dude, the people at Yahoo must have been listening to this show because they have done something that Lois has been doing for months and months and months, and they've created a picture which looks like it would be from AI, and it is down in the evidence room.
Is it Jesus? Oh, no, it's just a bunch of weed.
It's a huge weed all over the counter in the evidence room, and there's rats and police officers.
Look how big those rats are.
And they're the size of cats. I swear they're like, we're going to do
so much marijuana. What's going on down in New Orleans?
Good Lord.
Oh, my goodness.
That looks like a cartel. And then there's the one dude that's like smelling of it. I don't know if he's like investigating. Is this real? Is that
you don't need to be. Look, you don't need to put it to your nose if you have that much marijuana in a room. You can smell it when you walk in.
See, here's the problem. I have to actually write out marijuana.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was about to say rats eating weed.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not going to work.
That's not going to work. You got to spell it out.
Yeah, failed to load images due to quality standards.
Oh, see, they're not going to do that.
Bummer.
Look at there.
Oh, jeez.
All right, I'll write it as weed. Maybe it's
extremist.
They have standards? Come on.
Ganja. Maybe that's better.
What's another good word?
Reefer.
Yes. That may be the best one.
Yeah. Rats with reefer.
Oh my gosh.
It still won't give me an image. It does not fit their standards.
I'm not going to lie. If a rat got really high, was just sitting there giggling, eating a bunch of food, I want that pet. And then I think maybe I want to get high with that rat.
Okay, well,
seems like a good time.
The crazy thing is this Yahoo Life article where that picture came from, it says rats make absolutely wonderful and adorable pets.
Sure do.
What? One drawback is they have a short lifespan, and domesticated rats only live 2 to 4 years. Look, my mama's had all kinds of pets, but she's never had a rat.
No.
I will say, when I had when I was in high school, I had a pet ball python. Right? I just thought it was cool, and I wanted to have a snake. And
it messed up.
Yeah. Right. But a ball python gets to about they're almost. I never got bit ever once. They're so docile, and they only grow to about 4 feet long. That's I think the biggest one in the world's only like 5 feet for that particular breed. But I would have to buy those little white mice.
Yeah.
And to feed it, right?
Sure.
Alive, right?
Yes. Horrified my mother. She hated it, despised it. She kind of dug the snake. She thought it was cool, but she was like, I hate the fact that you feed this thing live mice. Well, the snake ultimately dies. And then there was still one little mouse, or one little white mouse, white mouse that was left over. And she was like, we're not, this thing is going, we're going to save his life. And she put it in
Saved his life. You just ate his whole family. You fed his whole family to someone.
She couldn't.
And now you're going to sit there and look at him and go, sorry, we fed your family. You're free to go.
No,
but he won the lottery.
That's exactly right. And Mama,
torture.
She put that thing in a hamster cage and kept it till it died. And that thing was probably a couple years. It was the fattest little white mouse you've ever seen in there. She fed that thing carrots and cabbage and there's no telling. She probably bought it hamburgers and biscuits too, like she does every other animal she has. But that's the only time that she did have, that was kind of a rat.
You realize that every single time you tell one of these stories of the goodness of your mother's heart and all the caring and the fattening up of animals, that just makes Kimmer that much more excited.
Yeah. Well, look, if
he's like, I'm gonna get fat and happy.
No doubt, she would fatten him up for sure. Like Kimmer's very, he's thin, he's fit, or looks trim and fit.
Sure.
She wouldn't have that.
She'd give him a sandwich.
Mama would be like, honey, you need to gain some weight.
Yeah,
I can hear it now. Yeah, she would. Each one of us, she'd be like, "Man, y'all would look a little bit better if you had just a little more weight.
A little bit more weight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm looking forward to cooking then.
Well, let me tell you, Mom can cook.
I will say this: what mice are really good for, and this is a trick I did.
Okay.
I wanted a cat when I was a kid. Like, when I say a kid, like 13, 14, like my son's age. And my mom didn't want a cat in the house. And there was a cat in the neighborhood that I was giving like milk to, and it was a kitten, and it was obviously a stray. So what I did was I went to the pet store and I bought a bunch of mice and I let them go in the house. And then I introduced her to the cat in the house that then caught all the mice. So she let me keep the cat because she said, hey, this is a smart cat. So there's one good way to manipulate.
Yeah, look, I think it's smart. Get what you want. You created the problem and the solution.
I'm like the Bidens.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. Yeah. But smarter and better looking.
The border's secure.
That's right. Border's really secure.
You know what we don't have around here right now? Cocaine.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we get cocaine in the White House.
Some of us, absolutely. So your crackhead son will do you the...
How'd this get here?
Y'all, I brought... This is a few months back when Mark Robinson, he is running for governor in North Carolina. He's the lieutenant governor up there. And I criticized him, and I got a lot of hateful emails and tweets about this because I criticized him because he went in front of the pulpit at church and was talking politics. And I just think that's a bad idea, man. I don't like mixing politics and religion. I'm not saying you can't have an opinion, but I think when you're trying to save souls, that's not the way to do it. That's dividing. I just think it's a negative way of getting to people. And I felt like Mark Robinson was taking advantage of that. Even though I agreed with his message, I didn't like him doing it at church. And then we get to Fani Willis, when the first thing she did was go to the church and inject politics. She did that for a reason. She's trying to influence people negatively. Maybe Mark Robinson was too. I don't know his heart. I don't know what he was trying to do. But I just disagreed with the venue, and I didn't like the fact that he had done it, and I don't like the fact that Fani Willis did the exact same thing, holding her to the same standard. I want you to hear some of these pastors that now, because of what Fani Willis has done, is parroting her message at church.
If it had not been for the Lord, Georgia's Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis, the prosecutor for the Donald Trump case, would not have said, I'm not on trial here. No matter how hard you try to put me on trial, these people should be on trial for trying to steal the election in 2020. If it had not been for the Lord.
Just this week, we saw a group of white attorneys trying to publicly lynch District Attorney Fani Willis in all her black womanness on national TV.
Oh, it ain't about Fani. The lynching wasn't just about the person that was hanging from the lynching tree. The lynching was a message to let us know that there go you if you don't stay in your place.
Man,
that first guy needed an inhaler. Oh my goodness.
Okay, it's just so sad when, for me, as a man where my faith is so centered to who I am, when Mark Robinson did it in North Carolina, I struggled with it and I didn't like it. And even, again, I'll reiterate, he was even saying things that I agree with, and I still didn't like him doing it in the pulpit, because that's what it leads to right there.
Maybe I just have a problem with when they're rich at the pulpit.
Yeah, look, maybe that's it. It could be that
they found their game, and they get to play it, and they enrich themselves. And I just look at it and I say, I think that's gross.
Yeah, it is so gross, and I think that's part of it, Rhino. That's the part that bothers me the most is that where I go to church, man, in my every place I've ever been to church, there's never been politics injected whatsoever. So when I hear it, knowing that it's meant to manipulate people, it's bothersome, because you're taking something that, like for a pastor, these people are trusting that his word is going to help them understand the Bible, understand the heart of Jesus. And yet they're taking that trust and then they're twisting it. Mm-hmm. Mark Robinson did it, and I didn't like it. And Fonnie Willis did it, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it in the church at all, and I don't like it. I'm with you. If you're going there, you're going for something else, not a political lesson or race baiting or whatever it may be. And, in certain communities, I understand how they feel about certain issues. This just isn't the place for that. This is race baiting no one can accept that somebody did something wrong. You have to go back to why you think they're being persecuted. You don't go back to the crime. You don't go back to the fact. Why don't you get up and go, why would Fonnie Willis interfere in another man's marriage? Why are you not bringing that up in church? But here's the deal, okay? And I'm going to tell you this as a Jewish man, because Jews do the same exact thing. No Jew can do anything wrong. It's got to be something else. Something else is why that Jewish man is a serial killer. It may be that somewhere down the line, his father was not Jewish, or his mother really wasn't Jewish. She was half Jewish. Right. That's what Jews do. A lot of black men and women do the same thing. A black man can't do wrong. We're not going to let that happen. Don't let that outside of our race. It happens all the time. And this is one of those situations where they are going to blame somebody else for what she did.
I talk about enriching yourself at the pulpit, but if I wanted to be really honest, why don't we turn the tables here and because the predominant amount of churches in the city of Atlanta are Protestant churches, why don't we have them all go vote Republican and see how they feel about it? I guarantee you they will be taking religion out and taking any sort of politics out of the church as soon as it gets turned on them.
I would like to think that...
March them all off. Let's go register to vote. Vote them all down. You ain't going to like... And it'll be... Those churches will be the first ones that'll be like, we got to get politics out of the church.
Yeah.
She lied. You're not going on that? You're not going to talk about her lying? And you have to use the word lynching, because, boy, does that just conjure up an image for you.
It's just a pass that I think that people are given when they get up in front of the church, and I don't believe that the pass should be there. It's bothersome. It's hurtful. I think it is detrimental to faith that happens, but it has none left. And on both sides, I would point out. It drives me crazy either way. Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station. The 9 o'clock hour is brought to you by Southern Exteriors, the Southeast premier home exterior solution. Quality and precision you can rely on for over 20 years. Visit southernexteriors.co, southernexteriors.co.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines. Presented by RBM of Atlanta, your Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
And here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Monday, March 18th. Burke County authorities are praising the efforts of 5 UGA students after they helped save a mother and her 2 children on Saturday afternoon. The girls who were traveling from Savannah to Athens saw an SUV drive into a creek at the Briar Creek boat ramp. Without hesitation, the girls jumped into the water and helped the mother and her 2 children get to safety. It's unclear what led the car to go off the road. Atlanta police are continuing to investigate a shooting that happened along Howell Mill Road across from Hattie B's Hot Chicken. The victim was approached by a group of people wearing ski masks who demanded their personal belongings. The victim pulled out a gun and shot at the suspects, who returned fire, striking the victim. The suspects drove away and the victim was transported to Grady Hospital, where they are in stable condition. No arrests have been made and no additional details have been released. And in sports, the Atlanta Hawks snap a 3-game losing skid with a 110-93 win over the Los Angeles Clippers. The Hawks' West Coast swing continues tonight with a 10:30 matchup against LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers.
What happens next now that Judge McAfee has said Fonnie Willis can continue in this campaign against Donald Trump? Sarah Hobson from Hobson & Hobson is here to tell you next on Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station. Tug, Rhino, and Los until 10. The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's Tug, and here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
All wealth is held by individuals in this country. All of it. That means that all taxes are paid by individuals in this country. Corporations do not pay taxes. They collect the money from their customers, from their employees, and from their shareholders and pass it on to the government in the form of corporate income taxes.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
When you pay a contractor, you want the job done correctly. And then if something isn't just perfect, look, humans are imperfect, and sometimes it happens that way. You want them to be available to make it perfect since you've paid for it. That's why I use Southern Exteriors. They got you covered from A to Z. Roofing, siding, gutters, windows, you name it. Then they do not make you wait. That's another thing. Nobody wants to wait on it. When you have decided you want the house painted or you want new windows, you want new gutters, whatever, new garage door, whatever, they can come out and get it done right away. They don't make you wait. But that cherry on top is that they have that in-house warranty division. So say goodbye to those worries about contractors disappearing after a day or two, a month or two, or a year or two. These guys stand by their work. They'll shake your hand, look you in the eye, and make sure that you have peace of mind for years to come. So whether it's a leaky roof, faded siding, drafty windows, clogged gutters, trust Southern Exteriors to transform your home into the castle you want it to be. Call them right away, 877-9-SOUTHERN. It's 877-9-SOUTHERN or southernexteriors.co. It's southernexteriors.co.
So, Robert, I want to thank you for your time. I just don't think you're the right person for this position.
I don't understand. Was it something I said?
Well, we did a background check on you and found some things of concern.
If you're in charge of hiring for your company, you know how helpful a background screening can be. That's why companies that use Horizon Background Screening make smarter hiring decisions. Don't let the wrong hire put your company at risk. Get the real story on your candidates at horizonscreening.com. horizonscreening.com.
Hey Atlanta, it's Ben, host of the Weekend Ben Burnett Show, proudly brought to you by Peach State Pride. Each and every weekend, we bring you all the issues going on around the globe and what America's ultimate role is in order to drive our agenda forward as conservatives. And if you ever miss an episode, you can download everything I've ever done on Apple, Spotify, or you can go to the podcast park. See you around, Atlanta.
Hi, I'm Mark Beckham with Atlanta Ramjack. We specialize in only foundation repair. What is foundation repair? Foundations sink or settle. These issues need to be addressed. It only becomes more costly the longer you put it off. What is the biggest cause of foundation problem? Either poor construction, inferior site preparation, or weather. Drought causes cracks in your foundations. If you see any signs of foundation issues, please contact us at atlantaramjack.com.
Did you know one of the best investments you can make? It's in yourself. At My Computer Career, in just a few months, you could start your new career in the high-demand, recession-resistant field of information technology. Isn't it time you invest in you and start a career in networking, cybersecurity, AI, or upskill to boost your current IT career? So, get the ROI you deserve at My Computer Career. No experience necessary. Start now at mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
The world's gone insane, and I've been warning you for some time about our $34 trillion debt bomb. It's staggering, and it's not just a number, it's a warning sign. So why should you care? Well, to shed light on this, I spoke with Kevin DeMeritt of Lear Capital.
Well, Glenn, you're right. It's not just a number. Every day I ask investors this question. If you started planning for retirement 20 years ago, how much more do you need now? 2 times more? 4 times more? Our government is literally drowning us in debt, causing the purchasing power of your dollars to evaporate, and the money printing that's causing it is accelerating. We're now borrowing $1 trillion a year just to pay interest. So here's the question. Are you prepared to wake up one day to find the value of your savings has been slashed in half? If not, there's an answer.
The answer is gold. Kevin has shown us how the gold price is highly correlated to debt, and he's right. The gold I purchased from 20 years ago has quadrupled in price.
Here's the reality. The government isn't going to stop printing money, but you can help protect your wealth.
I urge you, get Lear's free financial report on rising debt and rising gold. Call 800-957-GOLD. You'll get the report. They can help you get started like they did with me 20 years ago. It's Lear. They'll also credit your account immediately with $250 to help you get started. So call 800-957-GOLD now. 800-957-GOLD. 800-957-GOLD.
Wake up with the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3 Atlanta.
Tug, Rhino, and Lowe's on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. Always delighted when we can have Sarah Hobson join us because she has insight that no one else has in this whole Fani Willis Trump case that's going on in Fulton County. Former prosecutor in Cobb County and, of course, the CEO of Hobson & Hobson. How are you, ma'am?
Doing great.
Uh-oh, let's turn my... There we go. There we go.
Doing great.
Good news. Good news. That's what we like to hear. I was driving over to Charleston to see my son when the decision came down, and I couldn't help but think, as I had my wife read it to me, that the judge was too frightened to make the right decision. Is that how you see it?
That's exactly how I see it. I went and watched the video again of when Fani interrupted court in the middle of her prosecutor arguing to the judge that Fani should not have to testify, that the subpoena should be quashed. And I watched it again and seeing it after we've seen all the text messages and all the evidence that came out, all of the lies and the corruption and the spending and the trips, and watching the way she behaved in court and how the judge allowed that to happen. It just made me think, like, he still is seeking her approval. He's still seeking her approval because if you or I had walked in there, there's no way in the world we would be allowed to interrupt court, take the stand, demand the judge provide us with 3 documents that she wanted. And you know, you're going to swear me in, Judge? You're going to swear me in? I mean, it was absolutely absurd. And it's in my opinion, he still has this notion of he needs her approval. You know, he is a young judge. He's not been a judge for very long. And I have noticed this in the past with other judges and other jurisdictions. Sometimes when they start off as a district attorney, they forget they're not still playing on the DA's team. They have got to be impartial and fair. And that was not a fair reaction or handling of her behavior. I mean, it was kangaroo court. It made our state a global laughingstock. And then in this decision, it just feels that way again. It's just unbelievable. I mean, it's really unbelievable.
What do you think is going to happen at this point? Because this is something that the defense can appeal, is it not? I mean, Will they appeal the fact that she's still on the case, even if Nathan Wade, and he did give his letter of resignation, but they can still appeal this, yes?
Yes, absolutely. So they can do an interlocutory appeal. Steve Sadow, who is representing President Trump, he has indicated that they will be there will be more filings coming. I was checking even driving in here today to see if anything had been filed. It's interesting because if you watch the state Senate hearing, the minority leader was asking Ashley Merchant, who's representing Mike Roman, well, what if she had just gotten permission? What if she had just laid this all out? And Ashley says, well, we wouldn't be here. And he's like, you can't say that. This isn't a conflict that can be cured. This conflict, I mean, even the Democrats are saying this isn't something that can be cured. And Ashley's point was, no, we wouldn't be here because no one would have approved the funding. But even they can understand, removing Nathan Wade, who has touched every part of this case. I mean, he was in there with the grand jury where the defense attorneys are not even allowed to be in there. I've represented people in criminal defense cases. You're not allowed to be present during the grand jury hearings. You're not. And here Nathan Wade was, and he's benefiting from it, and Fani's flying all over the world with him. It doesn't cure the conflict because the point is this case would not be here had all of this been out in the open in the beginning. We wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be talking about this.
Sarah Hobson is our guest on the Morning Extra, and let's take it to the next step, because I don't believe, even though we had the ruling that came down on Friday, that it feels like Fani Willis isn't out of the woods on this yet. You know, there's a multitude of different angles where people are still looking at her and saying this person is not fit to be leading this. Where do you think this kind of moves? What's the next step from here?
So Governor Kemp recently, I think it was on Friday actually, he signed the bill that starts the Prosecuting Attorney Qualifications Council. I know that they also have some concerns with the district attorney. Not they. There are some concerns amongst prosecutors and defense attorneys concerning the district attorney in Athens, Clarke County, which is where Lake and Riley was murdered. This council can then start investigations. I hope that this will happen this week. That we've got the interlocutory appeal. We've got the state Senate who's looking into the whole conflict of interest case. And then we also have senators who are looking into the spending of the financial funds. And one thing that was really interesting, there was an open records request about whether or not federal funds were used to pay Nathan Wade, and it was actually documented that it was. Sure. And then the Fulton County tells the news stations, "Oh, it was a clerical error. It was
misappropriated, written down wrong.
Written down wrong. Yeah, it was a typo.
Yeah,
it was a typo.
It's funny, Donald Trump and them don't get any of that when it comes to any kind of financial.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah. So I think she's definitely not out of the woods, and nor should she be. I mean, guys, if this, you have to imagine, this is not a political. The defense is not doing this for political reasons. These are not Trump supporters. They're doing this because they believe in the Constitution, and this could be any one of us. This is, and if they're doing it on such a national stage, if this corruption is happening on such a national stage, what happens if it's you or me?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't have a national audience watching and picking apart every little piece.
Exactly.
We're not going to get the benefit of the doubt in that one.
Exactly.
Or how many times has this happened before that we don't ever know about?
Yeah, and we'll never know.
Right.
I do believe the truth will always come to light. We've also got the concerns of, she had hired Terrence Bradley as a contract attorney to do Tate work. He was deciding, so he's in a firm technically with Nathan Wade. Nathan Wade's prosecuting with Fani. Terrence is deciding whether or not evidence is supposed to go to Nathan Wade. I mean, this is just full of corruption
and mishandling of everything. And yet, though, the judge, the person that's there to disseminate this information, looks at it knowing what he saw. And you could see him on the stand being what looked to be frustrated with the antics that were happening. And yet, either A, let politics decide the outcome of this, or what, just didn't have the courage of his convictions. And he's in Fulton County. We talked about this with Brian Robinson a little bit earlier of Robinson Republic. It's not like these people have anything to worry about. And we even talked about how the strongly worded letter, or the strongly worded decision, the judge's decision, had so many statements about, the appearance of impropriety. And yet, they still went the other way. It gives me no hope in our judicial system. It gives no hope that anybody can get a fair trial in Fulton County, Georgia. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't know that I would call this a strongly worded order. I've read some strong orders. This is not.
Okay.
Yeah, you put a little lipstick on it. It's not.
That's how Brian described it.
No, and I understand. Yeah. No, and I understand because it does take a lot to even just insinuate that someone could possibly be dishonest. Another attorney could possibly be dishonest. But here, look at the reality.
Here in the real world.
In the real world, look at what happened. This is mind-boggling that she's allowed to stay on this case. The other thing I was really concerned with. I'm not going to say it's never happened, but in my experience, and I've asked other attorneys, I've never seen an order where the judge is allowing the offending party to decide what the remedy is.
Yeah.
Okay, Fani, yes, there's an appearance of a conflict of interest. There's an odor an odor of lies and dishonesty and corruption.
Can I play this game with them and be like, okay, listen, instead of like a death penalty, can I just get like a few years in prison? Like,
Right.
you know,
Horse trading.
Yeah.
Well, this is like asking, because we all have kids. This is like asking your kid what their punishment should be after you catch them doing something.
Should it be
It's
a
just
spanking
silly.
or ice cream?
I've never seen an order where a party is allowed to choose the remedy. And if you're going to go down that path, why not have it be the non-offending party? Okay.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Let them decide, yeah.
Let them decide, you know?
Does it come off like he's washing his hands of this? And you know, the other thing that I felt like when I watched like what happened with Kim Potter in Brooklyn Center, when I watched what happened with Kyle Rittenhouse, when I watched what happened with George Floyd and Derek Chauvin, there was a lot of outside pressure, the mob mentality outside. Do you think the fear of backlash from people in Atlanta coming and storming the courthouse if she was removed and this becoming a very big racial issue, because that's what she made this at this point, do you think there was any thought in his mind that if I do this, this entire place is going to be a riot, chaos?
I can't imagine how it couldn't have at least crossed his mind. I mean, you know, they are in the interest of justice. You know, you do have to look at the big picture of things. However, you know, your job as a judge is to do the right thing on this case. You know, this is, yes, we want good public policy. We want to save, Fulton County want to save Georgia. But when it's laid out before you like this, I mean, beyond a pale of questioning that there were lies and money and major conflicts. I mean, Fani knew that it was a conflict, and that's why she didn't follow the normal protocol. She knew it. We all know it. And to just kind of say, all right, well, you get to pick, Fani, what you know, it's him or you, you know. I've never,
As if there's a decision to be made.
I mean, have you ever?
Yeah.
Have you ever? I mean, this is...
She said the man like needed help when, you know, when he had cancer. You don't think she's going to turn on him and be like, yep, he's out. Bye. I'm staying.
Sarah Hobson is our guest from Hobson and Hobson. Let me ask you about this, because I felt like when Judge McAfee ended up removing 6 of the counts from this, it was almost like softening the blow. That he decided, this is what I'm going to do, but I'm going to go ahead and soften it a little bit earlier in the week by doing this. What impact is that going to have on this case? Because we did hear about the removal of the phone call and all the subsequent charges coming off of that.
Yeah, I think it's going to take. I mean, it's the right call. I mean, he did the right thing. I was also very concerned. It was like, why are you doing this right now? Right before we're waiting on if she's going to be disqualified, let another prosecutor fix it. So I also looked at that as an indication that he wasn't going to disqualify her. Which,
like a little candy before he gave you the poison pill?
Right, exactly.
Here's a little candy.
Here's a little spoonful of sugar.
You won't like what's coming.
Yeah. Right. I do think it's going to be more difficult. I mean, that was a huge part of it. That was the flashy... The flashy little
the phone call was the marquee issue that was going on here,
and they love to twist Trump's words and get a little soundbite out of it, and
like bloodbath,
like
maybe?
bloodbath, exactly. Yeah,
talking about it all morning.
So I mean, I think it was the right thing to do, but the right thing to do would also have been to disqualify her, which he partially did. I mean, he said either you need you and your entire office or Nathan Wade. So for
your boy toy,
like she's
so crazy.
It's I've never.
They can date. I don't know. Like that's a win-win. Now they can date.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
He's done with that.
Well,
he got paid. Wasn't that? Yeah, he got paid. He did his thing.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my gosh.
Listen, I'll be honest. I'll be a gigolo for $700,000. I'm putting it out there right now. Send it, ladies.
We'll set up a social
media
media
account. I might even be able to convince my girlfriend that's okay.
Rhino the Gigolo. Oh my Lord.
Right.
We'll continue with Sarah Hobson next on Extra 106.3 and where this case goes. What's the outcome? In her opinion, ultimately, how does this thing all shake out? Next on Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Morning Extra, on the air until 10.
From the latest break breaking news to the conservative voices you know and trust. Your best new follow on social media is Xtra1063. We're at XTRA1063 on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, and LinkedIn, and pretty much any social media you scroll through every day. And we drop exclusive giveaways, new daily content, and the latest breaking news from Georgia and across this great nation. Interact with your favorite Xtra personalities. Get the latest on our live events and so much more. Follow at Xtra1063 across all your social media and keep up with Atlanta's only conservative voice.
All right, now's the time, more than ever, to make sure that you have the essentials in case of an emergency. Well, apparently a bloodbath's coming, so you better be prepared. And the best way to get prepared is to go someone like True Prep, Marietta, Cobb Parkway. They're the one-stop shop for emergency preparedness supplies. They're locally owned, operated, so take care of the ones that take care of you. Whether you need freeze-dried food, water filtration, first aid kits, it is the place to be. And if you're new to prepping, if you're new to making sure that you have the essentials in your home or that you're going to be protected in case of an emergency, they even have classes set up, ready to go, workshops all the time for you to get involved with. And if you want to, like, let's say, clean your AR-15 or learn how to maintain it, learn how to take it apart, they even have classes for that. Why? Well, they are one of the best when it comes to having supply on hand. I'm talking about firearms, firearm accessories, and ammo, and it's all at the lowest price around. You can't ask for anything more than that. Go visit them. Tell them Rhino sent you over there, that you need to get started today. Start right away. Make sure that you have everything you need so your family is always going to be safe. True Prep, Marietta, Cobb Parkway, or you can go visit them online at trueprep.com. That's TRUprep.com. Prepare today for a worry-free tomorrow with True Prep.
Buying a new car is about way more than just a car. You want to love it and everything that comes with it. And at Subaru of Gwinnett, we get that. You want to love the website. Easy to browse, easy to shop, and an unrivaled selection so you can find the model that suits you. Like the 2024 Subaru Outback, Crosstrek, or Ascent. All offering impressive gas mileage, standard symmetrical all-wheel drive, and the tools to explore the things you love. You want to love the people. And know that every time you stop by the dealership on Satellite Boulevard in Duluth, they'll be there for you, ready to help in any way possible. And you want to love the service. We'll check that box for you also, because during the spring sales event, there's a lot to love. So stop in during the Subaru A Lot to Love event, and you'll find just that, a lot to love. Start your shopping online at SubaruofGwinnett.com and find the ride that best suits you, because love is what makes a Subaru a Subaru. Subaru of Gwinnett, Satellite Boulevard in Duluth, and online at SubaruofGwinnett.com.
Do you know that most people describe remodeling as stressful? Does that sound like your experience? Hi, this is Candace from Excavations, and have I got a tip for you. With Excavations as your partner, you'll get a completely different remodeling experience. How? Well, besides covering the very basics like showing up on time, cleaning up your property each day, not smashing your flowers or bushes, and not pressuring you to buy today because this huge deal expires tonight. We also cover the big things like a written project schedule so you know when workers are coming and when they're not. A fixed price quote so you're guaranteed that what you pay is exactly what you committed to up front. And a design of what your home will look like so you're not left guessing if you're even going to like the finished product. Discover what stress-free remodeling looks like and schedule your free quote today at exovations.com. That's EXOVATIONS.com.
Join A Second Chance Bail Bond CEO Daniel Madelon and host Tug Coward for the weekly radio show Back Your Blue. They will highlight special initiatives, criminal justice programs, and community events aimed at keeping our communities safer. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to learn some good news about and from the law enforcement and justice communities. Tune in on Saturdays or catch up on all past episodes wherever you get your podcasts or at thepodcastpark.com.
Hey sandwich lovers, today's your lucky day. There's a whole new way to roll for lunch or dinner delight with Nucky's Hoagies in the Roswell Corners Shopping Center. Now open. Nucky's Hoagies in Roswell is family owned and operated by the Sub-Sisters, Stacy and Shannon, whose love language is food and Nucky's Hoagies, their passion. When you bite into a Nucky's Hoagie, you'll taste the difference. The softest hoagie rolls ever, along with hunger-quenching sandwich combinations. Make Nucky's Hoagies in Roswell on Woodstock Road your new favorite spot for lunch or dinner.
Central Heating and Air Conditioning wants you to know the start of the new season is the perfect time to ensure your home's comfort. Don't wait like most people do to have your HVAC system serviced. Your home should have maintenance twice a year. Maintenance helps keep your system running at peak efficiency and extends the life of your equipment. So turn to Atlanta's Carrier experts for your system's maintenance at 770-GET-HEAT or centralheat.com. With Central, you get Carrier products, Carrier warranty, and Carrier peace of mind. Plus, you know what's going to be here before you know it? The heat. It's allergy season, and Central Heating and Air can fix what ails your house and possibly your family with home ventilation and air quality products. Central has packages designed around health using variable speed, fresh air ventilation, air cleaners, air purifiers, dehumidifiers, and more. Central Heating and Air is one of the few second-generation, locally owned and operated HVAC companies in Atlanta. With Central, you're not just a number, you're a member of the family. It's been that way since 1947, and they've serviced over 100,000 customers right here in Atlanta. Call 770-GET-HEAT or go to centralheat.com. That's centralheat.com.
Your voice, your vote. And this year it matters more than ever. So for the unbiased election coverage that affects your family and your community, trust the voices that matter when it matters the most. Extra 106.3 and the Xtra app.
We spent the morning explaining and showing you the context behind the bloodbath comment that the media has ran with since Saturday when Trump spoke in Ohio. I want to read you the media headline from Sunday. This is from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. No conflict of interest, but lapse of judgment in the Fani Willis case. And you're like, what? You are clearly trying to mislead anybody that will read your newspaper. Well, there's not many people left that read that newspaper. Or as Lowe's puts it, which is so correct, they're just giving red meat to the people that are still hanging around that actually still pay for that newspaper.
Definitely. I mean, if you read the order, one, I think he correctly ruled that it is an appearance of a conflict of interest is enough, and he certainly did not say that there was no conflict of interest. In fact, he said there was an appearance of conflict of interest.
AJC left that out conveniently.
Right? Yeah, how convenient. But he said that there was, but then where the softness is where he's allowing Fani he allowed her to decide whether or not her boo had a
her boo
get kicked.
Is that a technical term that you're using there? The boo? Is that
I
technical?
think it is. Yes,
it's become technical
for Atlanta area. Yes, that is typical
legal jargon.
But I said this from the beginning, and I knew this was going to be an issue. The fact that they don't have concrete evidence to prove the conflict because she played the game with the cash and she was able to skate around all of it actually being a conflict of interest. But I thought it was interesting when the defense brought up prior cases in the past that said doesn't have to be just a conflict. If the appearance of a conflict is there, this has been ruled, precedent has been set. Why didn't he take that into effect? Because he even asked about it and even told the prosecutor, you're looking at something that was an appearance, and that's why they were removed.
Well, I would say there was concrete evidence of the money, and in fact, Ashley was very, I think, Ashley Merchant was very conservative in what she was bringing to the court's attention. There was many Uber trips and other financial exchange of money that she did not present, and I would, any defendant that goes to court in Fulton County and they're saying, oh, well, no, I paid them back in cash. Like, that would never fly. That doesn't fly, and I think that's one thing.
If you're the DA, it does.
Yeah, exactly. If you're not held accountable, then yes, maybe. Right. But everybody else would be. You, I, Rhino, Lowe's, we'd all be held accountable.
Right. And I mean, there is evidence that it didn't happen. She can get up there and say, oh, well, I paid him back in cash. Well, you've also been impeached on your testimony in several other instances. So, if you're a liar, you've lost credibility with the court. If you lie in one instance, what's to say you're not lying about the cash? Let's put it that way.
But the guy from San Francisco said, when they were at the winery, he remembered her giving him $400.
Oh, yeah.
Sarah Hobson is our guest from Hobson & Hobson. Let me ask you, let's make this about you. Has this shaken anything that you think of when it comes to the legal system in this state and in this area, watching all this play out, knowing what your profession is, what you've dedicated your life to see how this is all playing out?
It has. And I think where I'm really disturbed is, where the headlines, they don't match the truth and they don't even match the content of the article.
That's intentional.
Right. That is intentional. And it was really disturbing because I ran for office. I knocked on 22,000 doors myself in Cherokee County. And it was very frustrating in that process that people have no clue. Really, so many people have no clue how our judicial system works. And here, the one good side of this is it's educating our community about how our judicial system works and what's actually going on. This is something that needs to be looked at, because if they're doing this on a national stage, they're going to do it to your dad, they're going to do it to your brother, they're going to do it to your coworker. It is very troubling, and I have seen some corruption myself with my own eyes, and I've had to enlist the help of other attorneys on what to do with it. It's very disturbing that our system that's supposed to be in place to protect us, to protect our community, it's being used as a weapon. And the reason that that's a fact is the attorneys that are representing these defendants, they are not Trump supporters. They are not going to vote for Trump ever, ever, ever. This is not political for them. This is what's right and what's wrong. And this prosecution is political, I believe. I believe it is political. And it's very scary that you could be on the wrong side of a DA's politics and have your whole life upended and someone's benefiting from it. It's very scary. I mean, it's very scary, and I'm frustrated, I'm disturbed, but at the same time, I'm so glad people are paying attention, because trust me, if we're seeing this right now, I mean, this is going on a lot. All over the place.
Well, we know we're going to have made it when we all get audited. Yeah. Because every single, for the most part, every single conservative talk show out there, I remember Clay Travis jumping from the sports realm over into talk, and he's like, for the first time ever, owning these companies, I am suddenly audited within 6 months of being on the biggest radio show. This is the weaponization of your government and your law system against you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's, it's really frustrating in the news. They're like, oh, Trump's attorneys, they'll throw it, they're throwing spaghetti on the wall to see it'll stick. These are really good defense attorneys. I know some of them personally. They're not doing this to support Trump. They're doing this because it's the right thing to do.
And doesn't it create an immediate thinking of, they're Trump's attorneys, and that must be where
that's what's presented in the news.
Not. That's always presented that way. And as you pointed out, these people, in some cases, are not representing Donald Trump. They're representing their own individual client.
Nor would they ever. I mean, and that's it's just trying to take the credibility out of their representation and labeling them all as, far right, Republican Trump MAGA supporters, and they're not.
Tinfoil hat.
Right.
Yeah, don't forget that part.
Tinfoil hat, right, yeah. So, it's really interesting just seeing all the propaganda.
Yeah, it is. Something that we talked about this morning that really irritated me was we talked to Sarah Hobson, CEO of Hobson & Hobson. The fact that she went to a church and started speaking there, and we played some of now the influence of that speech on churches around Atlanta and even around the state of Georgia. And that's something that I feel like that the judge kind of addressed, yet did nothing about, even though he saw exactly what we saw.
And remember, she's already been disqualified from prosecuting one of the defendants. So I definitely have an issue with politics being brought up at the pulpit. There's some pastors who are calling out the gravity of allowing her on that stage because this is the potential jury pool, and she's just tainted it. I mean, she's it's going to be, if this ever does go to a jury, it's going to be impossible to get.
What should they appeal on? I mean, I think that's one of the major things they should appeal on, that he will not get a fair trial. And that is, that's number one, a conflict of interest to me, is that she went up there, she tainted the jury pool.
Right. And I think, what the judge said in his order was, well, yeah, she shouldn't have done that, but maybe we need to do a gag order. But she didn't use their names. Oh, okay, yeah. No one has any clue.
No clue. I shouldn't have stole a car either, but I did.
I mean, it's
not me personally.
It's just interesting how you can just twist the contortions that you have to do to look at what we all saw, what the whole nation saw. I mean, people across the board, regardless of their political affiliations, they're looking at this and they're like, lies, corruption, conflict, and the mental contortions you have to go through to come up with this order.
But there are people like my Aunt Peg out there that is like, no, this is exactly what should have happened. I'm telling you.
Well, and that's the crazy
they
part.
Exist.
Well, it always starts with, liberal Aunt Peggy. It's what's her goal, and then what kind of contortions do I have to get into that goal?
How do I back
the goal
into it?
is always the last thing.
Yeah.
Morning Extra at Extra 106.3. Sarah Hobson, thank you so much. You're always such a breath of fresh air when you hear legal analysts on TV and you're like, what are these people talking about? And then we get to talk to you and like, there are people that can look through the BS and give you a straight answer.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want more crazy court cases just to get Sarah back here all
Exactly
the time.
right. Yeah, because
it's great.
Well, I have a feeling this is probably going to continue for a while. So we're fortunate that we'll be able to have you in. Quickly, how do people get a hold of you if they need your services?
Sure. HobsonLegal.com. We've got our phone numbers on there, a lot of information. But yeah, HobsonLegal.com, and we'd be happy to help you out.
There you go. That'll do it for us. We're going to turn this thing over to the Glenn Beck program for Sarah, Rhino, Losen, Board Up, Joe, Virgin River. My name is Tug. Y'all come back now. You hear?
The Kimmer Show is only live on Extra 106.3 every weekday afternoon on your drive home.
In fact, of all the things that happened for the Afghanistan withdrawal, of all the things that happened, the only arrest or citation has been the father of one of the Marines killed because of Joe Scumface.
The Kimmer